This episode is brought to you by Naked Fig Soap. Shop over a dozen handcrafted artisan soaps locally sourced and made in Arizona using the finest non-toxic intentional ingredients. Naked Fig Soap also offers facial care products along with accessories like soap dishes, soap saver bags, and more.
Visit their website at nakedfigsoap.com and use code DRUMMINGUP, all one word, for 20% off online orders. And that is the best place to find her now.
Yes.
She doesn't really have a storefront so much as she has
As of right now.
Yeah, as of right now,
Yes.
she has her products in certain locations,
Yes.
which again is the best place to find her is at her nakedfigsoap.com website.
Yes.
Or her socials. Instagram is a great spot to find her. Ask her any questions where she's going to be at like a farmer's market.
Yes.
You can find all that out. Or
But coming up, she's
Yeah.
moving to bigger and better opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And we're very happy to hear that because,
Yes.
we just want to
She's
make
one
sure
of our
she's doing
favorite,
okay.
favorite companies.
Oh, yeah. Whenever we're getting low, we always place our order.
Yes.
And again, use that code drumming up,
Yes.
all one word, to get that 20% off discount.
For sure.
nakedfigsoap.com. It'll be in the show notes. We'll have her website. And then the best thing to do is from the website, go find her socials, follow her. That helps her. And by you doing that, it helps us because we know you're listening and we know you're buying her great products. She also offers tattoo care and everything too.
Yes,
so
she does.
just a ton of stuff that she does. It's all locally made and everything. So what was that website again?
That is nakedfigsoap.com.
Using code drumming
Drumming
up,
Up.
all one word, for 20% off at checkout.
Hi there, this is Julian of Gorad, and you are listening to Drumming Up Conversation. Hell yeah.
Drumming up conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood. Excuse me, it's early in the morning.
Yeah, it is. So
Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you listen to your favorite music. You can email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. We love to hear from people. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation, and on X or Twitter at Drum Conversing. And don't forget to listen to our episodes on
Well, we're on
Spotify, Apple,
TikTok too. Yeah.
and TikTok. Listen to our episodes on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And you can watch them on YouTube. Periodically, we have live events on TikTok. And don't forget to subscribe, give us a review, 5 stars, please.
Rating, subscribe, definitely.
follow us.
Yeah, and follow us. Yep, that definitely helps.
And
So,
tell a friend. Thank you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we have a guest that we've not had on before, but I've been following for a long time. He's on one of our favorite podcasts that does a lot of music related things, and they've had a couple fun people on there.
And one of the
And one of the
is-
hosts, one of the co-hosts and
previous guests.
previous guest of ours. So yeah, so we're waiting for our guests to come on. Jeez, you've hit that like 6 times this morning,
know.
and it sounds really weird in the headphones.
Hair that keeps getting into my eyes. It's bugging me.
All right, so today we're joined by Vic Giol from the Prog Report. How you doing today?
Doing terrific. Thanks for having me. Hi,
course.
everybody.
Coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, first question we have is, where are you located?
I'm located in South Florida, in a town called Jupiter.
Okay.
It's if you are familiar with the state of Florida, and you know where the big lake is in the middle, kind of towards the South Florida, you have the big lake. It's Lake Okeechobee. If you go directly east, that's where Jupiter is at.
Isn't Jupiter famous for Burt Reynolds retiring there?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a bunch of golfers that make their residence over in Jupiter Island and several places around Jupiter. So we do have some of that celebrity wow, but it's overall it's very low key. Of course, about I guess 30 minutes south, the entire world now knows about Mar-a-Lago. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
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 which is great when the plane's coming in because I-95 gets shut down and
Wow.
everything just halts, but it's going to be that way as long as the current president is still around because he gets all the benefits. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
but where are you guys located in Arizona specifically? Because I've
Uh,
been there. I've been to Arizona, but to totally different spots and loved it every time.
where have you been that I can kind of tell you where it's at located from there? So,
So back in 2009, a friend of ours, his parents used to own a house in Lake Havasu City.
okay.
So we landed in Vegas and drove south, following the Colorado River until we got to Lake Havasu City, spent time on the lake. It was a terrific weekend. It was actually about mid-September, and temperatures were still up in like 115, but it was the dry heat. Everybody talks
Yes.
about the dry
Yep.
heat. Here at 92 degrees, we're dying. So,
Yeah.
but we were there, and then in spring break of 2018, we took a family field trip. Uh, Went over to LA, spent a couple of days in Disneyland, which compared to Disney World, in my opinion, I like Disneyland better. And then we drove over to the Grand Canyon, the Southern Rim. First time I'd seen the Grand Canyon, and it is every bit what everybody describes. You just sit there, not saying a word, just marveling at creation, which is cool.
It's
And then,
completely on fire right now.
oh no,
Yeah.
oh gosh,
Yep.
that's terrible. Now it's we got there, and being from South Florida, we rarely see snow, and it happened to be that the night before we arrived, it had snowed a little bit, so there were patches of snow still on the ground, which the kids thought it was really cool. And then after spending a couple of days in the Grand Canyon, then we drove south to my favorite part of Arizona in Sedona.
Oh,
We
too.
Yeah.
We have a house in Flagstaff, so we take the 89A down Sedona all the time.
oh
Yeah. So that yeah, we love that area. It's so cool.
all
We're
the
up we're in Santan Valley, so Santan Valley Queen Creek border. So we're what, about 35, 45 miles east of Phoenix,
Southeast
southeast
of
of Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah. So we're about
okay
it's about 2.5 to 3 hours away from Sedona, Flagstaff, all that stuff. So
okay.
yeah.
No, it's that was such a great trip because between all the hiking we did, all the trails, and we also did a bunch of cheat trails. And a colleague of mine told me that that was a hidden gem out west. That's where he was going to retire to because it to me it reminds me. So over on the East Coast, whenever we like to take, just a quick vacation to somewhere entirely different without somewhere where we can drive, we go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's right next to the Smoky Mountain National Park, and you've got trails and you've got all sorts of stuff that you can do there. And Sedona reminded me of Gatlinburg in the sense that people go there to enjoy more of the surrounding stuff as opposed to really the town itself. But we had a great time, and no, it's again both times I've been to Arizona, it's like being in another planet, and it's been terrific. So it's no wonder you guys have the Grapefruit League out there for spring training when we got the I'm sorry, you guys have the Cactus League out
Cactus
there.
League, yeah.
We have the Grapefruit League here. So yeah, no, that's very cool. That's very
Next time
cool.
you come out, let us know, man. We'll meet you up there. We have a house up in Flagstaff. It's like 45 minutes from Sedona, so that'd be fun.
Absolutely.
We'll show you some cool spots. Yeah.
Oh, we've had so many friends that recently have been to Sedona and they keep posting on social media and we're like, man, we love it there. Haven't been there in a while and would love to go back. So we'll eventually make it back out there. But no, that absolutely look you guys up.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
craziest thing about Arizona is we could have the absolute coldest day and the hottest day on the same day.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. The for me the strangest thing of being somewhere like Arizona, because I have always been near oceans. I was born in beautiful island of Puerto Rico. And when I was about 9, my dad, who was working for an American company in Puerto Rico, got promoted to Southeast Manager of the U.S., which was based in Miami. So we moved from Puerto Rico to Miami, which was one of the biggest events in my life that I can remember, from the standpoint of we left all our family back in Puerto Rico, but my dad had this vision that his father had started, my grandpa had started, because my father's from Spain. So that's where my last name comes from. Everybody's like, it's such a strange name. The only other Giol that I've ever seen is there is an Argentinian winery with my last
Okay.
name.
Nice.
I don't know the history of it. I don't know the genealogy of it. I've never done the 23 and Me or any of that stuff to figure out. Maybe someday I will. But I've had people tell me, it's like, oh, you've linked up with the Argentinian wine. I haven't even tried it. I've done search, and it's weird to see
Hmm.
my last name, which is weird, on
Hmm.
a wine bottle.
Right.
But when we moved to from Puerto Rico to the States, and we ended up in Miami. My parents still live in the same house, and and I've always been around the ocean, always been around water. So going to Arizona, Lake Havasu City was awesome.
Hmm.
And I tell you what,
Um,
it's great, great
did you
to
know
swim in
that?
the.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, did you know that London Bridge is there?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
That's
No,
because
no,
I
we.
remember singing that song as a kid, and I was like, it's not that far from where I live. So.
No, it was interesting. My buddies whose parents had the house there, they had a bunch of, they had like rhinos to, drive around
Mhm.
the desert. They also had a what I call a pontoon boat on steroids. It was a cat but with a big inboard engine, and which everybody seems to have there. And yeah, we were in the water most of the time, and just what's the beer? There's a microbrewery there, I think, called Mud Shark.
Oh
And so
yeah, okay.
we were drinking Mud Sharks and just sitting in the water, which I think it was about somewhere in the high 60s, and it was a great contrast to stay refreshed. But always used to the water, so always like to visit places like that. But I'm not sure if I could live someplace where the state was landlocked.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
We have a lot of beautiful lakes out here. But on the other hand, the other day it was 117 degrees.
I I'm trying to remember where I saw you guys posted that it,
Oh,
it
it was
was
119.
that hot.
Yes. It was on Facebook. It was 119. I give my 5 to 10 minutes of driving before I really log it because it'll fluctuate with just sitting in the sun. And it stayed
Right.
119 for about 8 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm posting this.
Wow.
119 is kind of a big deal. So
Yep. Just that's from what I understand, that's you guys deal with that no problem.
yeah,
And kind of like how we deal with alligators here, just
exactly.
We have
figure it out.
scorpions.
So we have
Yeah.
scorpions,
Yep.
rattles. Yeah, we have a
Scorpion.
lot of stuff out here too that wants to kill us. Not far from us at all. We go on hikes all the time, and we'll still hear rattles and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's fun.
Hats off. Hats off.
Yeah.
So,
We get
by the
scorpion.
way, great shirt. Love your shirt,
Oh,
which
thank you. Yeah.
it's interesting to me how in this world of podcasting, especially centered around music, I've landed with the Prog Report. But I was always, and in the Prog Report, I'm a metal guy. But growing up, metal was what sort of locked me into the world of music. Um, that it has still kept me in. So just like
Well, if you watch early like Dimebag videos, he's always wearing Rush shirts. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, it's we are so I don't necessarily like it when we get into all these categorizing of things into genres and subgenres. And I really started to struggle with that back in the days when um, iTunes started to be a common thing, and I would take my CD collection and start, ripping it onto the computer. And then there was always genre. And then it's like, well, certain things, yeah, I could put this, like, Rush kind of goes into its own category because of all the different things that they've done. You have an artist like Chick Corea, who is kind of like his own thing as well.
Yeah.
Um, but it, coming from a time when everything developed and you watch your heroes and you understand that what they were into were not, all the stuff that you're into. Like, Metallica is my probably my go-to band. Metallica is the reason that I believed that I could play guitar. Prior to that, hearing Eddie Van Halen and Eruption, that was amazing. Made me fall in love with the guitar, but it wasn't something that I could really relate to even play because at the time I was young. I had never seen an electric guitar before. My uncle, Vietnam vet, he was in his 70s. He passed away a few years ago. He had an acoustic guitar, so I knew what a guitar was. But to hear Van Halen do that thing that, there was no videos, you just heard it, and it was like almost like a pipe organ. You
Yeah.
have that sort of Bach fugue pipe organ thing, but it was an electric guitar. How was he doing that? But Metallica came around, and really that's when it was like, oh, that's distortion that I enjoy. And I had a buddy who had left the guitar in our house because he used to come over all the time, and he just left it at our house. And that's when I figured out what a power chord was. And he had a distortion pedal, so when you hit the distortion pedal and hit that power chord, it was like magic.
Yeah.
So so yeah, that's what sort of locked me into this. But you asked Metallica who they listened to. They weren't listening to they were listening to it, but it's not inspiration of what they listened to when they were growing up, because obviously they listened to older stuff. So, when they're talking about Sabbath, when they're talking about Diamond Head, you hear stuff like that, and it's like, oh, so you go back and check those things out, and it's wonderful, all the variety that's there to inspire the music that I ultimately love and still go back to a lot.
Yeah. So was Metallica pretty much the first band that got you to become a metalhead?
Metallica is the one that locked me in.
Okay.
Metal. So a little bit of context.
Yes.
Back in Puerto Rico, I was my mom's brother, my uncle, Vietnam vet. He was who played guitar. He was into the Beatles. He was into Led Zeppelin, and he was into all the psychedelic stuff, which he called it. They didn't call it prog back then, but he was into King Crimson, Yes, Genesis, um, ELP, uh, and then I had an uncle who was only 8 years older than I was because my grandma had remarried, and she had him, and he was more like a big brother. He was more into obviously music closer to my era. So um, the first heavy metal guitar that I remember listening to and saying, that's really cool, was actually Kiss Alive 2.
Okay.
And I remember listening to that album, and kind of, my that uncle had like a little drum kit set up in his room, and I had a plastic guitar. And while he tried to keep up with Peter Criss, I would just sit with my plastic guitar singing and just strumming, having no idea how the guitar sounded or how it worked. It was just lip syncing and having a blast, just pretending to be. Um, in the same thread, then comes Kansas, Boston, UK, Triumph. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm really missing, because all those things that had heavy distortion um, were stuff that I really liked and I really enjoyed. And then when the we moved in 1981, the 80s sound starts kicking in. A lot of synthesizers, a lot of stuff that, I wasn't all that much really that much into it. I kind of hung to the older stuff because of the heavy guitars. That's actually the time when I started getting more into the older stuff like Led Zeppelin and The Who, all that because of my older uncle. And it was I was in high school and I knew bands like Iron Maiden. The interesting thing back then, you just had radio. Iron Maiden never made the radio, at least not in South Florida. And South Florida was pretty much, radio station. You had Y100, you had Power 96, and they would play all the synthesizer bubblegum music. You would get the occasional um, rock song, and hair metal started coming in. And I had liked the hair metal songs, but I was never really into all that. As far as I never felt motivated to learn their stuff. And then um, my brother's friend left a tape of Master Puppets at home.
Nice. Yeah.
And it was actually right at the same time when MTV was starting to play One. Um, and hearing that rhythm guitar and that tightness and that speed, that's what locked me in. And that's when I became a metal guy and have been a metal guy ever since. Although my CD collection, my listening is quite vast. Um, Sometimes, people say, "Oh, you listen to country music." My wife is not a metalhead. My wife, she enjoys music, but the music that she enjoys is a lot more mainstream. And there are certain artists in country music that I enjoy that we can enjoy together, and specifically the two, and it'll make sense. Zach Brown Band, they're a Southern rock band who can play anything from bluegrass, and I've seen them play "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine, and they do a
Were
great
they the
job.
ones that partnered with Soundgarden too?
There was one, I'm trying to remember, in one of their albums they did a song with Chris Cornell.
Yes, yes.
But they also had an EP that they went to the studio with Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl didn't play any instruments, but Dave Grohl was a producer for their EP. And it was, it's very cool Southern rock. Um, and I enjoy that. The other contemporary artist that I enjoy a lot is Brad Paisley because his guitar
Me too.
skills his guitar skills are just through the roof, and he's a great performer. And but I also enjoy a lot of his songs have a terrific sense of humor and great storytelling behind it.
Is he the me neither
Me
guy?
neither.
Okay.
Yeah, would love that song.
So yeah, it's so I go from there. But also, if you stick to, again, guitar being my main instrument and my first love, really, um, I like listening to old Chet Atkins, again, a great guitarist, and even specifically when you have a song like Jerry's Breakdown, where it's just absolute, fast, chicken picking guitar playing. That's really cool stuff. I cannot play that, but I do enjoy listening to that a lot.
Did you ever
Um,
like Montgomery Gentry?
Never got into them.
No? Okay.
Never
That's
got
the
into
one I
them.
really, really like because they're a little more hard. They get a little hard too.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Shooter Jennings?
Nope.
He has a prog
No,
album. It's
he
really
does.
good. Yep.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'll have Justin send you the album title.
Oh, very cool.
It's really
Now
good.
it's in the circles that I was growing up with. There was a radio station in Miami, but country music was not, as obviously as big as it is now. Country music is very niche, or as my kids say, niche. But it's my getting into country music really came into being when I met my wife, because she was a country music fan, and I had heard country music when I was in college, and I was one of those where, hey, buddy, this is my puppy. He's 13, thinks he's two.
Nice.
It's
Hey,
cute.
bud,
Hi.
hold on a second. Let me make sure he's okay. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good. Yeah, so he's checking on his pup real quick. Is ours doing okay? We around it? She's
Yep.
okay. Just want to make sure she's not gonna swallow anything. Hi, sweetie.
All good?
All good.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah, we have
All good.
ours under the table here with us. Of course, she's one and she weighs about 90 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
No,
big girl.
this guy has been great. He's I think we're ultimately going to be a one dog family because he's been so wonderful. But my kids now, they're older. My son is almost done in college. My daughter is living her adult life now. And eventually it's going to be where we have to, like to travel, and this guy makes it a little tough. Hey guys, give me a second and I'll explain later. He's ringing the bell, which means he needs to go outside. So
Okay.
Oh,
let me
Oh,
take care
yeah,
of him.
you're good. Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
be back.
no worries. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so
that's
just so
really
there's
cute.
yeah, so there's no like silent because video I'm fine with it because everyone can see what's going on, but
Oh, yeah.
with audio, he's just checking on his dog and everything, so we'll keep the conversation going a little
It's a
bit.
good
So
dog.
yeah, yeah,
Teach him to ring a bell.
yeah, for sure.
You want to learn how to ring a bell,
I
lady?
could teach her. Taught her how
What are
to.
you doing down there? Stop.
Gosh, she's tearing up one of her toys. It's the first time she's really ever done that, like on purpose.
But when we tell her to stop, she
She
stops.
does stop, and
She's really good about that.
she's good about not swallowing it too,
Yeah.
which is good. So that
She-
always makes me nervous when a dog starts
Yeah,
chewing on something.
the insides. But it's more like she likes to just put it around the room for us to up later.
Yeah,
I don't know what she's doing now. She's exploring your CD collection.
it's just wanting to, find something to listen to later. So now she's leaving.
Yeah, bye.
She's never done that before.
She's so funny. The other day, I told her that she would go to work with me next Tuesday, and she woke us up 10 minutes early the next morning and was prancing around the house and kept going to her leash and collar because she doesn't know her days of the week yet. So she just
thought it was
assumed
the
it was
next
the
day.
next day. But it was so funny. Like 10 minutes early, she's like, "We got to go. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm
Let's
so
go."
excited. I'm so excited.
I know. Oh my God, she was so excited.
Yeah.
So she'll be even more excited on Tuesday
Yeah,
when she actually gets to go.
for sure. So yeah.
What else do you got?
All right. All
It's
right.
all good.
All good.
Okay.
Awesome. So Vic, what do you do for work?
I am a dentist.
Nice.
Dentist. Um, it's interesting. I watched the podcast you did with Dr. Kyle Fagala, and it's interesting to me how many dentists there are in the prog world. Uh, Kyle is in a band, Echoverse, and Doug Bowers, who is the keyboardist and bassist, and he actually does all their sound engineering stuff. He is a retired dentist.
Oh, wow.
So,
Interesting. Huh.
yeah. No,
Do you
I've been,
do
go
you
ahead.
have a rival band?
I don't have a regular band. I'm in a stage of life right now where my weekends, I cannot commit to a band to play on the weekends because we do a lot of visiting to the kids out of town, and but there's a band near my office that is a bunch of active and retired health professionals. There's like I think one other dentist. I think there's a cardiologist. You have a couple of orthopedics. They're called the Good RX Band, and
Nice.
they have a couple of places where they play. They have they sound really good. And one of the guys that's on the band is actually uh, my patient, and he's always like timing it out. He's like, so how close are you to being able to play? And I'm like, give me about one more year, waiting for Todd to graduate, and then I'm gonna have a lot more time on my hands.
Nice.
Very cool.
So, but no bands. I actually have not been part of a lot of bands because when I was in high school, my thing in high school, I was in the choir, in the school choir. That was my hangs. Um, all the people in high school that I still keep in touch with was from that crew. Um, Nobody in that crew was into any sort of really heavy music that I was into. My best friend and I enjoy music like Toto, Men at Work. Um, uh, he really liked Information Society. But my circle of rock friends were not the friends that I was hanging with back in high school. and uh, and so I really didn't have a band. Then uh, I stayed in Miami for first couple of years because I went to community college there, and that's when I joined my first band. But I joined as a singer, as a vocalist, because that's what I have my chops in. I could really sing because I had spent pretty much my entire school time in some sort of choir or singing in small ensembles and things like that. So I could read single note sheet music and I could sing. And that band um, didn't last too long because I knew that I was eventually gonna leave. I did at that time already had dental school in mind, so I was really focusing on getting good grades and anything that I could do on the side for fun. That's all it was. We did get to record a couple of songs because one of the band members was studying sound engineering at Miami-Dade, the local community college at the time. And they had a little studio in there, and as part of the assignment, he needed to record a band, and he recorded us.
An
So I have,
experience like that. Yeah, that's cool. We at Mesa Community College had something like that, and my band, one of my friends was doing it, and he picked us to record. So that's really cool.
yeah, yeah, that was one of the things that really started piquing my attention to recording in a studio. My earliest memories of recording in a studio, and Justin, you'll appreciate this. My favorite drummer is my dad.
Okay.
Uh, my dad has been in the Latin jazz, and Latin percussion world um, because he's loved it ever since he was young. Never took an official lesson in his life. Everything that he does, he plays by ear. And he has it. He has it built into him. And I thankfully got a lot of that stuff because even though I've had more formal training, but it hasn't been in any sort of instrumentation. It's only been vocal. But he I remember being a little kid, and he was part of a trio about two streets down from where we lived in Puerto Rico. There was a gentleman who was a pianist, and he had a little tiny rehearsal studio set up in his house. And my dad played the drums. There was a bass player, and then there was Carlos, the pianist. And um, they used to record themselves all the time. And I used to go with my dad, and just getting I remember the scent of when you walk into that room and you can smell those electrons going through all those, boards and the transistors and and you hear the fans going, trying to keep everything cool. I really love that. And I was a little kid. I would have been like maybe 5, 6. And I just remember really enjoying watching them do their thing. I'm trying to that there's some reel to reel somewhere with their recordings on it. And I'm trying to get my dad to find them because I'd love to digitize it for him so
Yeah.
that he can
Hmm.
he can have something. But
Yeah,
you know that
is there stuff anywhere? Can you find it? Because I'd love to hear it.
That stuff, not yet.
Okay.
I am working on it. My dad, my dad's getting up there, but he's doing well. He's healthy, and so is my mom. So I still have the blessing of being able to talk to him. They still live in the same house that we moved. So they're about an hour and a half south from here. Um, but that, and then going into that studio where my buddy was recording it for his class, that really started to pique my interest. And considering the stuff that I do now, um, really what started that, me actually getting into the thought process of consciously recording and then consciously mixing, was when I was in college. I'd been playing guitar, electric guitar, for about a year and a half, and there was a local store that rented out all sorts of equipment, including 4-track recorders. And I, scrounged up enough money to rent it for a weekend. And that's when I started to just experiment around in just playing. And initially, I didn't have anything original, but I would just, pick a section of a song and I would just play it and just experiment with stuff. And that's when I found out, hey, if I double the guitars and then I pan them, ooh, it sounds a lot like Pantera. And and then we had a little drum machine. It was like a Casio with 4 pads, and
Okay.
I used to sort of fake a drum kit with that. There was no foot pedal attachment to it, so I had to play the kick with my right hand. I alternated between kick and snare with my left hand, and then with the right hand I had a hi-hat and a crash. So it was constantly just going back and forth. But we made it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have those recordings, but they're on cassettes.
Okay.
Um, I again, that's one of those things where, once our lives start to get a lot more free time because, the kids are set, there's a ton of things that I'd love to go back and just digitize and just kind of catalog, just for fun, just for fun. And but no, I've always, the balance between being a metalhead, but also really enjoying the sound engineering side of things, um, has worked out really well. And then that really got exercised, both aspects of things, not the metal side, but um, probably the longest standing performing, if you could call it performing. It's Sunday mornings at church. I was part of a church band for about 12 years in a church that we used to go to. And there was a short rotation of musicians up on stage. Most of the time, I would play bass, because that's the other thing that I quickly discovered is guitarists are like cockroaches. We're everywhere. Drummers, you got to hold on to them because they're like gold. And bass players are pretty much guys that play guitar that, would rather not step on anybody else's toes and kind of have their own thing. And I ended up doing that. Um, which is why in all the videos that we've done, I pretty much play bass the entire time, which I'm absolutely fine with. And I have learned a deep appreciation for bass as a result of having to having to play. Um, but you know, playing at church every week really hones in the chops and the skills there. And then I was also doing live mixing for the church, and that further reinforced just my practice of pushing faders and adding effects and getting rid of, a ring that came through a microphone. And um, then as the church grew and they added a streaming ministry. So during the church service, we would actually have a separate board where the engineer would sit in a separate room with headphones on, and he would mix for the internet side of things. And I really enjoyed doing that because at that point I didn't have to worry about any microphones ringing, and I could really add a lot of different things as far as more effects and just really getting to enjoy making the sound that was coming out of there as good as I can make it. And the thing that always people always ask me is like, wow, your mixes are really loud. They're really cut through. They do well. Where did you learn that? And it's not something that I learned. It's something that I sort of was programmed by all the great music that I grew up listening to all that time. If you go back and you listen to all the albums that I've been talking about and was introduced to, the thing that they all have in common is they don't all sound the same, but they all sound spectacular.
Yeah.
And you take what the Beatles did with stereo and just absolutely do their extreme panning. You go to, in the 70s, Pink Floyd and Genesis and just the extreme drum setups that there were and all the stuff that they threw in there. Just it's amazing. Tom Schultz in Boston, an
Yeah.
MIT engineer who at the time is mixing stuff on his basement, sounds as good as anything that's out there. And you listen to that stuff now, and it is still
Yeah.
pristine. Everything has a spot. Kansas, Phil Ehart and that drum and how it cuts through and
Hmm.
all the stuff that they do. And on top of that, throw a violin in there, and it sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But all that stuff sort of when that's the sound that was in my head, whenever I mixed something, that's kind of the push and attitude that I wanted to have. And thankfully it translated well.
Nice.
So yeah, it's in my current world of the stuff that we put together for the International Prog crew. Um, yeah, it's I love doing that kind of stuff.
So how did you meet Roy and the guys from Prog Report?
So it's twofold. I have known Roy when I was growing up back home. Younger brother, he's 4 years younger than I am. My brother was his circle of friends in high school were band centered. My brother played guitar, and so he was in a group of friends that they all played. Roy was one of those guys. When fast forward, my brother and his friends are all at the University of Florida going to school. Roy is there. And I was in dental school at the University of Florida at the same time, and that's where we first met. First met actually, Roy was one of the front men in a band, um, Mindscape. I almost forgot the name of that. But they played everything from Pantera to all the alternative rock stuff that was out there. They would play in little tiny clubs. They would play at fraternity parties, and that's when I initially met Roy. The Prog Report. So Roy at the time started. He graduates, and he was working in the record industry, on the distribution side of things. And whenever Roy would run across something that he liked, he would tell us about it. He would, call us, or sometimes he would, make a mixtape and give it to one of us, and then we would all pass it around to each other. So pretty much the Prog Report. So in the day and age of the internet and setting up a website that you could do anything, that's what Roy continued to do. Naturally, it's what he has always been very good at. And it's not just, hey, I like this, you guys need to listen to it. He's very good at hearing something and then knowing what each of us like and what our tendencies are. He would specifically say, hey, Vic, you need to listen to this. Or if it's something where he thinks that there's enough for everybody to like, then he'll share it with everybody. So I knew Roy before he started the Prog Report. The Prog Report guys, that that came about, and this is something that I've learned is somewhat common. Fans of a specific group of bands, they will travel anywhere in the world to watch shows, whether it's New York, whether it's LA, whether it's going on a cruise ship, whether it's Moore's Fest. The Prog Report crew, so Roy and I, anytime there's a concert in South Florida, we go to a concert together. The Prog Report started, and shortly after that, Progressive Nation at Sea in 2014 happened. Mike Portnoy was that's kind of his thing. Him and Derek Sherinian got it rolling, and it was perfect timing for the Prog Report. The Prog Report was really new, didn't have very many followers, but that was a perfect spot, perfect target audience. And we had little brochures, we had guitar picks, and the entire cruise ship not only enjoying some terrific music that I had never seen in person because none of those guys ever really stopped by South Florida. South Florida is the spot where bands come to vacation. They don't come to play very much. Um, so Dream Theater was one of the exceptions. But at that time, even Dream Theater has stopped coming to South Florida. And so I got to see Animals as Leaders, Periphery, just look at that roster in Progressive Nation. And for a metalhead, that was like, wow. And, prog stuff, it was absolutely amazing. Just some great shows. On that cruise ship, there were a couple of other guys who are now in the Prog Report. And between that and Moore's Fest and going to other concerts in different spots, it's the same people that you keep running across that you find common interests. And then friendships have flourished from that, which it goes from not only watching concerts together, but as Roy has continued to do more content for the Prog Report, he started with interviews, and then he continued on with doing top fives. So we would pick our top five songs, and that's when he would start bringing in other guys and incorporating guests. But that's, the community that is progressive rock, and specifically, I think our crew really gravitates. Our epicenter is the projects that arose from when Portnoy left Dream Theater and all the stuff that he started doing specifically with Neil Morse.
Mhm.
That was kind of the epicenter of all of us not only started to come together, but kind of striking up friendships and creating a really, really cool community,
Yeah.
which is a blast. The guys all are they all have great sense of humor. Our texts, we text each other constantly. We're always messaging each other, not only about music, but just pretty much about everything. They're all really great guys. We're all in different stages of life. That's the
Mhm.
other cool thing is you have somebody that's in their mid 60s, and you've got somebody that just turned 30, and everybody else is in between.
Mhm.
And we all love music. We all There are certain artists that we all definitely like. And then it does get to the point where, you have somebody like Jeff, who, because being in the UK, his upbringing and his filter of music is entirely different than my filter of music. Or somebody like Kyle Graves, who's over in LA, and that's, metal central there.
Oh yeah.
So so our I don't want to say organic, or I think organic is overused a little bit too much, but it was a very natural, the gathering of the group happened slowly over time, but it was a very natural. And it's just you keep seeing the same guys and you keep enjoying the same stuff together, and you start talking to them, and then it's like, oh, these it's I have found my people.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you guys have great chemistry. That's what we love about it too, with whether you guys are doing the wheel of something or
Right.
just talking about music in general. And it's one that I always look forward to new episodes coming out on. And there's
Oh,
very few podcasts that do that for me because I know I'm gonna get like real how you guys really feel about it and
yeah.
opposing views. But you guys are really fun about doing it. You're not just serious like, okay, here's who's in it and here's the songs and here's the band. You guys will joke about it and
Yeah.
like, if someone doesn't like a song or a band or something, you rib them a little bit
Yeah.
for it and they
Yeah.
rib you. It's great to do that because you're serious about it, but you're not taking it seriously. So,
Well, we're good friends,
mhm.
and when you have a relationship based on that, and it's respect, and we don't, yeah, we don't take ourselves seriously individually and as a whole. Um, there's lots of other things that we need to be serious about. But when it comes to something as wonderful as music, as subjective as music, not only from a style standpoint, but even from, I mean, you have some music that is all instrumental, and you have some music that lyrically they go all over the place. Whether you have somebody that is singing about, Vikings at war, or you've got somebody that's sharing their faith in Christ, or if you got
Mhm.
somebody that's, just uh, has lyrics about, just mystical and all that stuff. Just everything is there. Again, so subjective that, just we 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 keep it very lighthearted. And listen, even when the podcast is not on and we get together at, Morse Fest or on a cruise ship or anything else, our conversations uh, about music are probably even more intense because we're just a bunch of music geeks.
Mhm.
And it's, listen, it's good, wholesome fun.
Yeah.
It's stuff that really, keeps your mind clear, keeps your mind on good stuff, and it's a blessing to be a part of. And but again, in our crew, it's also translated as to, hey, how's your family doing? How are you doing here? When we go through different struggles or different seasons in life of challenges and all that stuff, we are now there for each other, and it's a daily presence, and I'm grateful. I'm sure I speak for Roy when I say thank you so much for your support and for watching. But what we do is we have fun, it's genuine.
Mhm.
Even when we do a podcast and there are guys that are not on the podcast, we still manage to somehow, sort of mention each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that it comes out in a positive way, because
Yeah.
that's, it's I started with the Prog Report. The first thing that I did for the Prog Report steady was writing reviews on albums. And I if you read my reviews, they're always going to be on the positive side. Probably the most, I don't want to say negative, but the most, or I should say the least positive review that I wrote was actually on Dream Theater's The Astonishing. And the reason
I
I
had
say
a feeling.
it's the least positive review, I was still very complimentary on the ambition that the guys had. I think Labrie's vocals on that album are his best. Just an incredible undertaking to get that whole machine going. Uh, and I usually don't like to do this because I don't want to curtail the artist's expression and creativity. But I felt that, when I listened to, the two CDs, I listened to these specific tracks. If we were to combine them in one CD, I would then be okay listening to it a whole lot more. That was the quote unquote biggest criticism that I had of
Mhm.
anybody that I listened to. And and I think all of us, and again, Roy is great at doing this. An album comes out, we get the release early so that we can write a review, and
Mhm.
Roy knows who to assign it to because Roy wants it to have a fun, positive review. And that's why, Jeff will get something like Marillion,
Hmm.
and I will get Haken.
Nice. Yeah.
So, that's the positivity that we're trying to keep going. Just because, and we have people say it's like, oh, all you guys do is say positive stuff. Listen, we're kind of in the mentality of you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it's not constructive.
Yeah.
Um, and listen, these are artists. Whatever they want to do to express themselves and to put out there, that's great. Now, as a fan, I also have the privilege or the right. I don't want to say right, it's not a life or death thing. But if I don't like it, I don't have to listen to it. I can go back and listen to stuff that I like, you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
So yeah, we try to keep it positive, and I'm grateful that you not only you perceive that, but you look forward to that.
Oh,
That's
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So we know you've been on a few of the. It's gone from Wheel of Prague to Wheel of Metal and other things.
yes, sir.
Um, One of my big ones is which one had the most frustrating final order where you're just like, I can't believe that's what we're sticking with.
Well, it has to be, and it's still as you can only imagine amongst friends how we jaw each other all over it. Um, we did a terrific episode with Charlie Griffiths from Haken. It was a wheel of metal. It was 80s and 90s metal albums,
Was
and
that the one
we
on the crew or one of the it was live? Was that the live one?
no, it was not.
No.
No, it was
Oh,
not.
okay.
Those
Okay.
the live one was actually 90s. This
That's
one
right. Okay. Okay.
this one that we did, um, and the toughest part about starting these shows is it's not even the show itself. It's deciding which albums are we going to put in there because we want the opportunity to speak about albums that we haven't spoken about before. Master Puppets did not need to be on that list because we have spoken plenty about Master Puppets. So we chose Ride the Lightning. And so you work your way down the list, and the albums that we chose are the albums that we chose. And a lot of the times when we pick something, we say, well, if I was picking an album for this band, it wouldn't be X, it would be Y. But since this is the album we got to rank, that's what we do. Specifically on that one, the fact that um, Rain and Blood ended up in D, and that Vulgar Display of Power ended up in C are
Yeah.
absolute just like, you know. And
Yeah, you just reminded me of yeah, that I remember that one. I'm like, what the hell is vulgar is where? Should be
and
A or
and
S.
and the person that put them there, I love Kyle Graves like a brother. And Kyle and I are like this when it comes to metal amongst the Prog Report guys. And he's the one that ended up putting those two albums there. And it's one of those like, oh my goodness. It's like, how can this be? And of course, he has, his perfectly good explanations and everything else, and we all take it for what it is, but that was the one that was the most frustrating, I guess. That was the biggest shock to me when I look at a C tier that has Overkill and Vulgar Display of Power. It's like, wow, what a
Were you
great
kind of
C
hoping
tier.
that he was having the difficulties like he was on the Iron Maiden one at that time?
That episode was fun.
The poor guy. He's one of the biggest Iron Maiden fans, and because of that technical difficulty, which gave us so much fodder, still to this day,
Hey guys, I'm
we
Kyle Graves.
Yeah.
Kyle, if you're watching, we love you.
We do love
But
you.
that he the Iron Maiden podcast, I think was handmade for Graves, and unfortunately he got robbed of really expressing effectively because he tried, but all we could do is just put our hands over our mouths and not laugh. But yeah, that particular one, uh, yeah, he should have been. Uh, he would have been the shining star for a different reason, not for the almost the chipmunk sounding voice that he developed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that episode though. Vulgar was not where it should have been, and yeah, it was all just all over the place. And yeah, that was. I had a feeling it was either that one or some of the Metallica one too was a little like really. It was like was it Fagula that was defending Stanger? I call it Stanger, but
No, actually, Mike Portnoy and I both defended Saint
well,
Anger.
it was you and okay, sorry, yeah.
Just, Metallica just has a very unique stance on a lot of their albums, in that some of the music is absolutely incredible, but for whatever production choices they made, they are not the pristine sounding albums that we would like them to be. And there have been people that have done the Jason Vengeance mix for Justice.
Justice, yeah.
And then you've had people that have gone back and done Saint Angers and sampled a different snare drum as opposed to what sounds like you're banging the side of a keg. And then Death Magnetic. You talk about a gem. Death Magnetic is something that I can listen to from beginning to end. The fact that those guys pull that album out, but and with Rick Rubin, terrific
Mhm,
combination.
mhm.
But again, the choice to produce that album where it sounds like your speakers are exploding. Again, it's one of those things where somebody has come up with a mix that is not as compressed and has more dynamic range to it, and the bass sounds better and things sound different. Um, no, Fagala was defending he was defending Load. Reload,
Okay, okay.
Reload, has fuel, but no, it's Load was
That's
the
right.
one that he was defending.
That's right. Okay.
Um, because again, music being so subjective, one of the
Hmm.
things on how you rank things is when were you exposed to a certain band or a certain album? What were you going through in life?
Hmm.
And that really either pushes it way up or you didn't pay attention to it. Mike, I did not get to do the Dream Theater tier ranking.
Hmm.
Um, they already had enough guys, and I think I was off doing something with lacrosse, which is a whole different subject. Um, I agree with Fagala. Fagala ranks Falling into Infinity, which a lot of people in the Dream Theater world dump that way down because of the fact that it was the record labels trying to strong arm Dream Theater into coming up with a more commercially friendly album. They wanted another hit. They brought in Desmond Child to do You Not Me. But yeah, outside of that song, which even on my Spotify playlist, that song is like blocked out. It's no need for that song. But the rest of the album is I really enjoy it. And believe it or not, that is my wife's favorite album for the simple reason that shortly after we got married, that album came out. And because it was a more palatable Dream Theater, my wife, even to this day, she enjoys that album. Whenever I play it, she recognizes the songs. So to me, that album is special because there's a little bit more of a connection, personal connection with my wife and us enjoying that in a
Hmm.
time when we were newlyweds, which is always a really cool time
Hmm.
in your relationship. You remember it really well.
Yeah, that was the
So yeah,
first tour I saw Dream Theater, so that's special to me for that reason too. Was
a
the
great
touring into
tour.
Infinity? Oh yeah, when they split up, change of seasons and all that. Yeah, it was great. So, yeah,
Did Was Big Wreck the opening band? Do you remember if Big Wreck was the opening band for that tour? I
don't
know they toured
remember.
because they
Yeah,
toured for a long time and they did Once
hmm
in a Lifetime
hmm
uh out of that.
I don't remember Dream Theater having an opener that night I saw them. It was a very small venue, so I don't know if they. I think it might have just been them that night. I don't remember. I miss so.
Have you always been Arizona?
I lived in California for about 3 years to take care of my grandma, and that's where I met Andrea. But for the most part, I've been a teenager. So, was born
That's
and raised
very
out here and all that. Yeah.
hey, kudos to you. Your coolness factor just went up to 11. Taking care of your grandma, that's really cool, man. That's really
Well,
cool.
she kind of started my career. I started playing in church as well when I was a kid. As 7 or 8, and I played drums for the real church, not the youth group or anything, but the main church with like adults. And I was playing drums, and I had to stand up to play. So I was Slim Jim Phantom and everything then because I couldn't sit and hit the pedals. So so it was kind of her reason I got into playing music and really loved playing live by doing it at such a young age. I wasn't nervous or anything, just did it. So yeah, it's least I could do was take care of her and make sure she's good. So.
That's awesome. Blessings to you, bud. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, Vic, what was the first concert you ever saw?
That's a great question because in having a dad who is a musician and a big music fan, um, I think the first real concert that I went to down in Miami, uh, we have Metro Zoo that had a big outdoor amphitheater, and I saw the Doc Severinsen band. Doc
Yeah.
Severinsen, Doc Severinsen was the guy
Hmm.
for the Tonight Show band with Johnny
Hmm.
Carson,
Okay.
and got to see
Trumpet
him
player.
play. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And I remember my dad also was a big Maynard Ferguson fan, and that was always playing at home. And when he told me that we're going to watch, a trumpet player, and I'm like, oh, is it Maynard Ferguson? He said, no. He's like, this guy is in charge of the Tonight Show band. He doesn't have the squealing, incredible high pitched notes that Maynard Ferguson always hit, but his band was absolutely, absolutely incredible. And I just remember sitting in the lawn on a towel next to my dad, just watching the show and just really getting a big impression of watching people play and do the stuff that I always heard coming out of my dad's stereo speakers in the living room. So that was my first concert. Um, as far as a famous artist, just being there with my dad. Most of the early concerts that I went to were with my dad. Probably my favorite concert that I've been to with my dad when I was still living at home. I was in high school, and there was a tour. It was Bachman Turner Overdrive BTO. It was uh, what's the band that did Midnight Confessions and Live for Today? Their name escapes my mind. Um, it'll come to me later. Doesn't matter because the headliner was Blood, Sweat, and Tears with Bobby
Nice.
Columbia on drums, and David Clayton Thomas was singing. And they played all their stuff. And of course, at home, Chicago and Blood, Sweat, and Tears were in the regular listening cycles at home. And that concert, it was in a it was in a marine stadium in Miami where the stage is a barge on the water, and then we just watched from land. We just watched them perform, and it was absolutely a terrific show. I remember my dad saying, he's like, I want a recording of this because they sound so much better than they do on their records. So that was one of my favorite concerts that I went with my dad for that kind of stuff. The first concert that I went to, remember that uncle that I told you he was 8 years older than I was? I would spend my summers in Puerto Rico when we lived in Miami. I would go spend my summers in Puerto Rico, and my uncle would always try to go to a show. The first concert that I went to, it was Dokken opening up for Loverboy. You talk about an odd pairing, but it was the Lock and Key tour with In
Okay.
My Dreams. In My Dreams was the big hit, and then Loverboy. It was I can't remember the album that they were touring, but Loverboy is one of my guilty pleasures, even to this day. I love how they were just rock, but really poppy, really catchy melodies.
Hmm.
Mike Reno, incredible, incredible vocalist. But that concert was absolutely crazy. A couple of years later, my uncle was also really big into Toto, and we went to another concert in Puerto Rico where Toto was opening up for Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart had a great show, but to me the showstopper was Toto. I got to see Porcaro playing drums,
Oh man, nice.
which is incredible. And Roy and I about I guess it was about 3 weeks ago. Toto played in the local stadium here, and and one of my favorite songs for Toto is called "Home of the Brave." It comes from the not Seventh Seal. Seventh one is Toto's album. I get Seventh Seal and Seventh Son, and
Hmm.
Toto's seventh album. They had a song. They have a song called "Home of the Brave," and they played it 3 weeks ago,
Nice.
which was awesome. But I was telling Roy that when I first saw Toto, they played that song, and the ending is a fade out with Porcaro just going crazy on drums,
Hmm.
and I got to see that,
That's awesome.
Very
which was
cool.
really cool.
Was Carmine playing with Rod Stewart? Was Carmine
I
playing drums? You
I
remember?
cannot. I don't
Okay.
remember. I
Okay.
did not pay. I really did not pay attention to.
Hmm.
I did not pay attention to Rod Stewart all that much because
Okay.
yeah, the songs that I knew of him, it was like Infatuation and If You Want My Body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
because
was not
Carmine,
into.
yeah, Carmine wrote that, so I was curious if he was playing drums at that time still with him. So,
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, Carmine played with Rod Stewart for a little bit. He
If
actually
it
wrote that song. So,
the Infatuation song or
no,
if you
if do you think I'm sexy?
Yeah.
So,
I
it's
would
all
have
good.
to.
Yeah,
I would
no,
have
you're
to
good.
look back and research because I did
No,
not
you're
pay
good.
attention to that.
It's fine.
The first concert that I and again this is what dates me, but we camped out outside of a record store and
We've all
when
done that.
Yep.
when you weren't supposed to and I paid with my money. I was in college and there was a string of great shows that came around South Florida at the old Miami Arena. And the first concert that I camped out for was the tour for Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood.
Oh, nice.
That's the first time that I had been to a show, which I tell you what, I learned a lesson in that show because they were so loud. I remember getting to my house late at night. I was exhausted. I remember getting into my room after I took a shower, was really tired. I had discovered what it was like to have secondhand smoke
Hmm.
because it was crazy. And I tried to go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep because my ears were just screaming. And for about a day and a half, my ears were screaming. I got so scared that from that concert on, I've worn protection
Hmm.
to keep my ears from getting blown out because
Yeah.
I did not want to experience that. I guess it's extreme tinnitus when you have that short term.
Hmm.
Not fun. Not
No,
fun.
no.
No, we
And
went to a Sons of Apollo concert, and the middle band that went on just before them, they were the loudest band I'd ever heard.
yep. Yeah, we saw I went we were at they had just gotten off the metal cruise, whatever it was called. And I don't remember the name of that band, but yes, it was like sludge metal. They were like drop D tuning and with their Gibsons, and it was just a wall of just screeching sound.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Sons of Apollo comes on, and Jerry Guidros really controlled the sound well. Sons of Apollo sounded great,
Yeah.
but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
I remember wearing my earplugs. And I'm sorry I can't remember that second band because
Yeah, we
they
can't
were
even.
they were really fun, but I was more concerned about the fact that man, it's just hard to figure out what you can't really hear the drums. All you hear is the guitars. It's
Yeah.
like wow, they got to control it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's protection has been the number one thing. And but yeah, Motley Crue was my first self concert that I went by myself without my parents, camped out, did all that stuff. I was in college and I had a job, so I could afford to do some things like that.
What a fun first concert like that. So
Oh,
that's
absolutely. What a great set list because that in my opinion, Dr. Feelgood, and that's it for Motley Crue. Anything after
Mhm.
that,
yeah,
not paid attention to it. So,
Yeah.
agree. Yeah,
but yeah, it was great.
that's really cool. So, how has it been being able to like have Mike Portnoy on some of the with a excuse me, what's going on some of the Prog Report? How's that been?
It's always been a pinch me moment
Yeah.
because, you know, I I watched when MTV first played Pull Me Under, not having an idea who they were. I was in college, and I remember hearing that and just how I remember thinking it's like this guy has a Neil Peart type technicality to him. His drum fills and how he hits is very precise. And then you've got, the guitarist who's doing almost like Nuno Bettencourt, Yngwie Malmsteen type stuff. So they caught my attention right away. And so these guys, as they continue to release albums, these guys, for me, became to the level of appreciation and fanhood that I had for Metallica. So fast forward, and here we are in the Prog Report, and there's Mike Portnoy. It's it's a pinch me moment. It's to me, it's very emotional. Just because if my 18-year-old self, could come out and scream, that's all he would do. Um, the cool thing of Portnoy is that he is as much of a fan as we are, if not
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
He is terrific in his memory and his knowledge of stuff, and he's very easy to talk to. He's a fan. When you sit down and you talk music with him, it's the only thing that I wish we could do when we're doing these podcasts is just, have a nice beer or have a nice drink and just talk.
Hmm.
Because that is the thing that I can never get tired of, and that
Yeah.
is talking music with other music fans.
Hmm.
And the fact that it's Mike Portnoy, that's a big deal. It's when as the Prog Report continued to grow and Roy started getting these interviews and started to develop more of a regular relationship with these artists. We always sit down and talk. He's like, "Hey, I got an email from Mike Portnoy about this today." And then it'd be like, could you rewind back to early 90s when these guys were untouchable giants.
Hmm.
How cool is it that that we are in this stage to be able to enjoy in a, even if it's a very superficial musical fellowship, but it's Mike Portnoy. It is so cool. And again, Mike makes it very easy
Hmm.
to be a part of it, and he, to his credit, um in the midst of everything that he was going through, was always very pleasant, very supportive. Specifically in Progressive Nation, when Roy first met Portnoy face to face, Portnoy was all supportive about the Prog Report. Portnoy was kind of in the same situation, trying to promote the progressive music as much as he could, even though he had lost the platform that was Dream Theater at the time.
Yeah.
So very cool. Some of my favorite podcasts, especially when you're talking about Metallica, which is it's Dream Theater Metallica 1 and 1A. To
Mm.
talk about that with Portnoy, and then the Opeth one. Opeth is another
Yeah.
band that I've been following for a long time, and oh my goodness, to have that conversation with him and just to understand, the relationship he has with Ackerfeld, and just, going through the albums and all that stuff. Such a cool thing. Such a
Yeah.
really, really cool thing. I'm grateful that it is out there for us to enjoy, and my kids, even my kids who, they know Dream Theater, they know the music. They're obviously not into it as much as into it as I am. But yeah, when they see me up there with Portnoy, they're like, "That's really cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What was your reaction when he rejoined Dream Theater?
That was my reaction too. I didn't know what to say. Yeah.
Justin
I
wanted to leave work.
Yeah. I was
He
like,
was so
I can't be
excited.
at work right now. This is too much. I can't think.
It took me back to how I felt when I read his post that he and Dream Theater had parted ways. Um, it was that day. I remember that day so well. So it felt like it was when I heard that Portnoy was returning, um, I heard I heard that and it took me back to that day. It felt like it was just the day before, but then you thought, it's been a long time. And considering that I remained a Dream Theater fan, I maybe because drumming is not my epicenter musically, um, I appreciate what Mangini was able to do for the band in that he was able to allow them to keep going in a universe that nobody else was really in, and they were still Dream Theater. There are going to be many subtleties and not subtleties that drummers will be able to point out between Mangini and Portnoy. I I didn't want Mangini to be like Portnoy. Um, I wanted Dream Theater to keep moving forward, and I was happy for them. Um, and when Portnoy kept doing his stuff, I was happy for him too, and I thought we benefited immensely in that the great music that we loved, we were getting more of it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there was a divorce, and that's something that we all had to navigate. I never got involved in the whole, you know, hate Mangini or praise Mangini, and I never really picked a side. Kind of like same thing for Van Halen. People
Mhm.
ask about Van Halen or Van Hagar. You know what? We got two terrific bands that were different. They're both great. I have both their albums. I listen to both of them equally. It's the same thing with Dream Theater. So Dream Theater being a favorite band, and Portnoy being one of my top my in my Mount Rushmore of drummers. He's there for him to return, and knowing how special it meant to him, um, was probably the most unique moment that I've experienced as a fan, uh, because it was absolute just joyful pandemonium.
Yeah.
And we had, I wasn't shocked because the things that had happened over COVID, and then
The Petrucci
John
solo album and then
Petrucci
the
solo, Liquid Tension.
Liquid Tension 3, their writing's kind of becoming on the wall, but
Yeah.
you're still
And
not
and
sure
well,
because there's the
um,
Mangini factor you had to put in. Like, are they just going to tell him you're out? How's that going to work?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I was also happy to see that, and they were doing this publicly as well.
Hmm.
You had Labrie, in a concert that Mike had gone to see, acknowledging Portnoy in the crowd. I thought that was great. And then, you start seeing posts where, Mike and Mike were taking pictures together and all that. So you knew that a reunion was at that point was going to happen. It was just a question of when.
Hmm.
Um, it, October of 22, Petrucci had come to Orlando for his solo tour, and Dave LaRue was there, Portnoy was there, was hanging out with Roy and Kyle Fagala. And so after the VIPs and everything else, we actually got to sit and chat with them. And the interaction that I saw between John and Mike, like old friends, and the three of us walked away from there, and we all pretty much, it's just a matter of time. It's really just a matter of time. It's just things have to be right, and and they need to do it in a way where it's not forced, so that you don't run into the same issue that they ran into before. But also you have to give credit. They're all 13 years older, 13 years wiser. Kids have grown. I know that as a person in that kind of span of time, if you've been doing things the right way, you grow a lot more patient, a lot more appreciative. Um, so again, utter pandemonium when he returned. It felt right. And really out of all this, I just pray that, and Mangini said all the right things. He
Oh,
did
he
all the
was
right
he was
things.
so good. He was
And
great. Yeah.
but I,
He's
I, I,
because I think he said this is how it's supposed to be, or so, might be paraphrasing, but he's like, this just feels right. This is what's supposed to be, and I'm very happy for them. And I was like,
correct.
wow. Yeah.
And that's what he announced. And as with anything else, what you say in the public, and it's the right thing to do, because that's what you want to project. But I really pray that in himself and in the quiet moment with his close loved ones, that they maintain that not only privilege and blessing of being a part of the Dream Theater all that time, but that that time is done, and that they're all okay with it. That's what I truly hope in my heart that took place, because outwardly that's what everybody was expressing.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it was like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Um, when that happened, and it was one of those things where I started thinking, Genesis fans never got this,
Hmm.
and there's just lots of different bands that never really got back to where to where it sort of started. It was just a great blessing and privilege to be alive when that happened.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, well, I
then,
remember you guys did kind of a makeshift, like a real quick,
yeah,
were you like
yeah,
talking about it and you were like, the heartbeat is back. I
yeah,
remember you said that. Like, I was like, oh
yes.
wow. Yeah, it is. I've been saying that for years. Like they're just missing that heartbeat, that vessel that's just kind of drives them. And it's Dream Theater, but it doesn't sound like Dream Theater so much. And then once he came back and everything was going, I'm like, the heartbeat's back. And I was thinking, and then I heard you say that. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. He said exactly what I'm thinking. So
Listen, I brought up divorce before. Um, my parents are still together, so I never experienced this. A lot
same,
of my
yeah.
a lot of my friends never experienced this, so it's hard for me to really relate. But you know, there's a divorce. Mom gets remarried to stepdad.
Mhm.
There are some amazing stepdads out there. And I don't want to diminish the role of the stepdad at all. You're still the male role. You still show love for your wife in front of the kids so that they can model that. Um, but dad is still dad. And and Portnoy was more than just the drummer. He was the creator of Dream Theater.
You did the
His
set
dad,
list for the live shows.
right. And
Yeah.
there's just and Portnoy's personality and his attitude towards the drums is entirely different from what Mangini did. And when you start a band with Portnoy, and we're all used to having that specific type of dynamic, and that's gone, then there's a different type of style and a different type of dynamic, even though it's still familiar.
Mhm.
He comes back, and yeah, it's that pulse, that give and take, that no click track,
Yeah.
that he sets it, and I always appreciated that. The tour that you were talking about with Falling into Infinity,
Hmm.
at the time Roy was working uh for a record label back then. I think it was Warner Electric Atlantic, whatever it was. And so we got to go in and watch a sound check. And the thing that struck me in the sound check, they were playing Lines in the Sand, and
Okay.
they were playing it really slower, like markedly slower, and it sounded great. And then the concert comes around, and then they're playing it, at whatever speed they feel like playing it, and it felt just as natural. That's got to come from a drummer that is just locked in, not necessarily to a click. He has an internal metronome that varies, and he sticks with it, and he just carries that. You watch him do it in any band that he's in. There's just such a calm control, even though he's going crazy on the drums.
Hmm.
But there is a calm control. He is the conductor that just, translates very well.
Yeah. We
Um,
saw him in three increments. Could have been
Hmm.
four, but Sons of Apollo, Adrenaline
Adrenaline Mob,
Mob, and,
Dream
and Dream
Theater.
Theater.
He has a great drum tech too.
oh, Jose's been with him for forever. Have you guys ever, I guess you guys have not seen him doing any of the Neil Moore stuff, whether it's Neil Moore's band or Neil Moore's
Not
solo
live.
transatlantic?
Not live on YouTube, stuff like that, whatever we can watch, and then obviously, listening to it. But yeah, we've never seen any of that live.
It's the same kind of control. Uh,
Hmm.
Flying Colors.
Hmm.
If I could pick a band of my favorite artists in just about every single instrument, and the only reason Casey wasn't in the picture was because I didn't know about him, but Casey's perfect for that. But Steve Morse, Neil Morse, Dave LaRue, and Mike Portnoy,
Yeah,
holy moly.
yeah,
And even in that context, he is that cornerstone that just keeps everything glued together. And look at the different styles that that band plays, and they're
hmm,
all locked in, and they're not clicked, and he just keeps it going. It is impressive.
yeah.
Um, I've also seen Portnoy more than any other drummer, so I've really can sit back and
Awesome.
enjoy and just understand what he does. And again, as a guitarist, I appreciate it a lot. I could sit on a kit and play well, play in time, play some basic stuff. Um, Most of my percussion comes from my dad teaching me how to play bongos and congas and that kind of stuff. So I do appreciate, just the independent hand movement and just controlling everything is something that I really admire. I try to carry that whenever, especially at church was when it was the most obvious in performing every week. But whenever I play bass, I try to have that sort of attitude
Hmm.
where, I'm following the drummer. If for some reason I have a young drummer that's kind of struggling, he can rely on me and I'll lock down and I'll do that. That's something that, that I really have come to learn and appreciate from Portnoy.
Yeah. So when you heard they were doing a new album, how did you feel? And then how did you feel about Parasomnia?
Um, I love the fact that artists keep putting stuff together. I think new music is a wonderful way for our minds to keep exploring new stuff and not get stuck in a rut. Um, Still love to go back to the older stuff, but I was very happy to hear that they were putting new stuff together. And that's how those guys are wired. They're always putting together new stuff. When I heard it, and I got to rewind a little bit here because Andy Sneap had done the prior Dream Theater
Mhm.
album. Jimmy T had engineered it. Those are two guys that are on my, just list of sound engineers that I appreciate and like to emulate. Andy Sneap, I learned about back in the that would have been in the mid '90s. A new record label called Century Media had started, and they had all these bands that had a terrific drum sound and guitars. It was amazing. And the common factor was always Andy Sneap. So, like bands like Nevermore, bands like Iced Earth, even bands like Stuck Mojo, which was kind of like a rap metal band,
Hmm.
they sounded amazing. And Andy Sneap was behind that sound. So, Andy Sneap coming together with Dream Theater and Mike Portnoy, I was highly confident that Mike Portnoy's drum were going to sound as good as they ever have
They've
sounded.
never sounded better. Yeah.
And man, it is. I mean, I liked the sound that Sneap got out of Mangini's drums from A View of the Top of the World.
Hmm.
That was a great sounding album. But with Portnoy and Sneap together, and then Jimmy T just locking in those sounds with Petrucci, this new album, and I try not to be a victim of the moment,
Yeah.
but it's the best sounding Dream Theater album that there is. As far as their songs, I still listen to the album now. The album, we got the demo to write the review, and I didn't write the review for that. Dan Levy did. Uh, but we got that demo. It would have been shortly after Christmas last year,
Okay.
and I still listen to it. It's still on the regular. I think I think 2025, the Prog Report end of the year ranking show is going to be absolutely insane. 2025, over the time that the Prog Report has been doing this stuff ever since
Mhm.
2013, 2016 was a pretty good year, even though the Astonishing was on that year. But you had, Similitude of a Dream from Neil Morse Band, which was an
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
absolutely
Yeah.
killer album. But 2025, I mean, you've got Metallica, excuse me, you've got Dream Theater, you got Steve Wilson, you've got Karma Koenig, Between the Buried and Me. It's just a mind-blowing year. And I still listen to that Dream Theater album a lot. And I am so happy to say that mid-September, we're going to get to see him up in Orlando at the Hard Rock Live.
Yeah, we're seeing them in
Um,
October. So
oh,
yeah.
it's gonna be a great show. I encourage people to go out there and watch. The timing and finances were not quite right. A bunch of the Prog Report guys went over to the London show for the
Yeah.
opening,
Yeah.
and that was an amazing time. I'm so happy for those guys. They got to witness that firsthand. What an emotional show! What a great show! Um, I was hoping that they would continue to honor their stop in Orlando. Orlando's only a couple of hours from here, but I was hoping that they would get to stop, and thankfully they are. And on that show, it'll be me, Roy. I think Bosco is coming. Another friend of ours, Cesar, is coming. So it'll be great to enjoy with
Nice.
those guys.
We saw him in February, first time. That was her first ever Dream Theater show.
Oh wow.
More than anything, I was blown away by John Myung. Oh, he's a beast.
He doesn't take breaks, does he?
No.
It is his technique is absolutely just like he's like a rock. And I've shaken his hand before. He doesn't have large hands, but it's like shaking the hands of a lumberjack. They are rock
Man.
solid. I mean, just amazing. And I really like the grit that he's developed with with Andy Sneap and his bass sound. I think under Mangini the bass sound was not as prominent as I would have preferred. He's got a lot more grit in his sound these last couple of albums, and his playing is just amazing.
Well, the
He's
first
one
song
of
she ever saw live was Metropolis Part One. And I mean, is he any better on that song even? Like, so she
no.
first out of the gate, that's the first thing she sees. I'm like, oh shit! Like, she already is a big fan of Young, but when she sees him playing this,
Oh my God. I couldn't stop watching him. And I wanted to be focused on Mike Portnoy for myself and for Justin because Mike Portnoy's a god for him, you know. But just I couldn't stop watching him.
It's he's one worth watching every single second.
Mhm.
And because that's, you know what, that's the most expressive, that's the most outgoing that he is.
Mhm.
As a bass player, he's perfect because his personality is not one to be in the forefront. But yet his bass playing, even though it provides that foundation, somehow in that style, it's you watch him and it's a lead instrument as well.
Yeah.
It's remarkable what he does. It's
Mhm.
it's great. One of my all-time favorite players, him and Dan Briggs from Between the Buried and Me. Those are guys that when you watch them play, there is no resting point. Everything is moving all the time and it fits perfectly and it supports when it has to.
Mhm.
It brings out colors when it has to. That's hard to do as a bass player.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. Tony Levin would be another one I would.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
he's
Yeah.
great.
I've not seen him live, and I know you haven't either. And
Yeah.
yeah, that would be another one I'd want to see just live.
I've seen him a couple of times on the cruises that I've gone to,
Hmm.
and he's the most humble guy.
Hmm.
You talk to him and you see how he talks about music and how humble he is. You would have no idea that the guy at his age can keep up with Portnoy and Petrucci doing all that crazy Liquid Senses stuff. It is insane.
Did you ever listen to the Bosio Levin Stevens stuff?
Oh man.
In passing, not
Okay.
something that I can analyze and say, but that's one of those. So because of all the jazz that I've been exposed to,
Hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that I've listened to, and I enjoy while I'm listening to it. Does it stick as to a memory or something? Not necessarily. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it.
Hmm.
And no, that was I mean, that's an insane group of talent there. So those are always fun to really listen to. It's like the Aristocrats. Amazing talent on that group. Is there anything that I really remember as far as melody or as far as, catchy riffs or anything else? Not necessarily. But that's one of those where I start the music and I am listening intently all the way through.
Hmm.
If I see them live, it's the biggest treat that there is. Very similar to uh, Beat, which is the King Crimson
Oh
project.
yeah, with Danny Carey and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's another band whose talent is just through the roof. And am I a big King Crimson fan? Not by comparison to other stuff. I really appreciate their stuff.
Mm.
But to watch them do their stuff and perform it, there's nothing like it. It's absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
Even if it's something where even if it's something where I don't say, oh, I'm in the mood for King Crimson today. No, but just watching that live is spectacular.
Do you have a favorite King Crimson album? I'm just curious if it's similar as mine.
Um, I like Discipline,
Okay.
but I do have yeah, my studio is in the midst of being reshuffled. So my vinyls are sitting in a crate over here, but I do have a reissue of In the Court of the Crimson King.
Okay. I like red. I
Um,
always liked red because it's a little bit heavier for me. That's
red is good because of its heavy. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But that's pretty much it. When there was a Wheel of Prague King
Hmm.
Crimson that was done recently, and Roy reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, would you like to be part of it?" And I'm like, "Dude, 3 albums, and I'm pretty much tapped out."
Yeah.
I'm it's and it's not like I've gone and listened to the other ones, so I'm really not going to be useful
And if you
for
have
this
only
one.
like a week to cram, it's like that's just not enough time
Um,
to process King Crimson
no,
either. So.
no, King Crimson, I would need probably 6 months
Yeah.
to really get
Yeah.
everything down.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's again, thankfully there are other guys that are willing and able and enjoy. And I don't have to be on every podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to build some sort of internet personality and all that stuff. Whatever comes out of the time that I can contribute, great.
Yeah.
I don't stress over that stuff.
Yeah. And you want to be honest with it too. You don't want to just do it just to
Yeah.
do it. You want to do it because you really enjoy it. Or why am I taking a spot from someone else that will just so I can be on it? And that's really cool that you do that.
Well, listen, and because of the style that we do, if
Hmm.
I'm not honest about something, people that watch all the time, and even the real fans, they'll see right through me. And the
Yeah.
last thing that I want to do to Roy or to do to the artist or to do to the music is just come across as not genuine.
Oh,
It's
this guy's
just
not a real fan. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of thing.
yeah,
It's not.
and it's okay not to be. It's impossible to be a big fan of everything that's out there,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. You
Yeah.
can
Because I
still
would get
appreciate
that.
it.
Yeah. Because I would get that with like my dad's favorite band is Yes. And I love them, but I only love like the first like maybe 5 albums, and then that's it. And they have what like 40, and they have different lineups of them. And I'm probably not exaggerating. It's probably pretty close now because they have two yeses as well. So they're twice as many albums per year or 2 years or whatever. And it's just like I only know like Close to the Edge and Fragile, and the Yes album and all that stuff. After that, it's like even the 90125. It's just like eh. I like a couple songs off of it, but I'm not a real big fan of that album. Big Generator's okay and stuff like that, but it's just a couple songs here and there. I can't do full albums on them after like, Fragile or anything like that. So
I
yeah, I
did.
get that.
I was part of that
Mhm.
Wheel of Prague with Yes, and my advantage was the fact that I had an older uncle who was into the original stuff that they did, all the classic proggy stuff, and then my uncle that was 8 years younger. He's the one that introduced me to the newer stuff, and then the new stuff that they continue to come up with. Um, those are the kind of things where I did have to do a little bit of research on them. I had heard them, but it wasn't something that I had, delved into deeply.
Mm.
But again, that just has to do with a context of how you're introduced to a band and how it is that you keep informed. Because for most of my life, Spotify was not a thing. I had to either acquire music or have or know somebody that acquired music that I could share with, not through computers, but physically give me a tape or give me a copy of their CD, whatever it was. That made keeping up with music far more of a challenge and far more time consuming. Now you can just, push of a button and you have
Yeah.
access to pretty much everything there.
Hmm.
And I try to be respectful of artists, knowing that Spotify, doesn't pay artists very well, and you have to have, billions in order to, or billions of streams in order to really make any decent money. Um, if I listen to something more than three times and I find myself going back to it, I go ahead and I purchase the physical media if I can find it.
Hmm.
um, just again, out of respect for the artists that, work hard to get that out.
Yeah.
So,
That's how we are too. Just on to our left over here is a entire CD vinyl collection. We have a stereo that plays 5 disc changer on it and everything. Like we
Ever
still
since
love the physical. Yeah. I have the 5.1 of the new Parasomnia and all that. Like I bought the physical everything. And then those bastards at Zia, the day we went to go get the album from, they had the Images and Words new release right up front. I'm like, well, I have to have that on vinyl. Like, you guys are clever. So yeah, but I love
yeah,
that stuff. I love having physical copies of things. I love reading the liner notes and who did what and everything. So
well, it's one of those things where, if, and I don't know how likely this is to happen, but should the internet crash,
yeah,
I can still listen to music.
yep,
Yep.
So I love the convenience of having the streaming. I mean, there's a bunch of CDs that I have, and it's what's interesting is I ran into a CD the other day. I think it was in, what was it? It was it was Neil Morse and the Residents.
oh,
It
okay,
was their latest. I had gone to Morse Fest. I bought a CD, um, but I came to realize I have never actually opened the CD. It still had the wrapping on it. Um, because I like the convenience of the stream, but it's people people that read, they like to have a book collection.
yeah,
I'm an 80s kid. I think the only I started into my own music. I think the only vinyls that I have, and this is an odd pairing, uh, Faith by George Michaels and OU 812 by Van Halen.
nice,
And then that following Christmas, my dad got us our first CD player, and my first CDs were Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, AC/DC Back in Black, Van Halen, the first, and Master Puppets.
nice,
So that's when the CD collection started. And I don't have all my CDs. A lot of them I digitized, and when we first got married, we lived in a small place, so I had to start, not putting them all out because I didn't have enough room, and then eventually got to the point where I had it all on my computers. So then I started to really get selective as to which ones I kept. So my CD collection and my physical CD collection shrank a little bit. Now it's starting to grow again because I, as the kids have gone on from our house, I actually have a bedroom that I have more room for. And this something interesting because if you watch the videos for the International Prog Crew, um, my studio is called Vic's Sound Closet, and that was when we first moved into this house, which was about 13, 14 years ago. I There was an old pantry next to the laundry room that my wife was like, "Hey, you can if you can figure out a way of sending," and it was a three foot by 8 foot closet, but it was wide. It was wide enough where I could set up my desk and my speakers and everything else. And my brother-in-law's wife This is a great lady. Uh, in a Christmas, she got me a one of those like metal cutout signs, and it said Vic's Sound Closet established 2012. And so that was the joke is, that I was over in the sound closet. Well, now this room, right outside the door, that sign still hangs. And
Nice.
and I and I told Melanie, she's the creator of Vic's Sound Closet name. But even if somehow in some crazy way, if I would end up with my own professional recording studio, it would still be called Vic's Sound Closet.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
So, but yeah, it's just having fun. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
having fun.
So we see behind you, you have a Merino jersey.
Ah,
Are you a
yes.
big sports fan?
I am a big sports fan. It was something that in the circle of friends that I was at and growing up in Miami, gosh, back in the 80s, you had Don Shula, and it was the golden years of the Dolphins. About 10
72.
years, about 10 years after the undefeated season. I can't claim that. I was,
Yeah.
I was months old when they had that, and then I was, about a year and a half old when they won their 73 season Super Bowl. So I've been a heartbroken Dolphins fan for a very long time, but Dan's the man. That is probably the my favorite sports figure ever. I've
Too.
shaken his hand a couple of times. He actually has a house in Jupiter Island.
Oh, cool.
But it's one of those things where, it's you don't seek him out. I was joking with Roy. I'm like, it's cool that, we get to hang out with Portnoy. For me, it would be just as cool to hang out with Dan Marino. And I would really have a hard time not going all fanboy on Marino because I have just about every single stat memorized. I watched
63, 361, yeah, all that stuff. So
Yeah, there you go. And I have so many games I recorded in our old VCR just because, gosh, Brady has won the Super Bowls. Everybody crowns him as the GOAT, and you can't ignore the fact that he's just a winner and he has all the stats, has all the championships. Shout out to him, even though he's from the Patriots, which just irks me. But you got to acknowledge greatness. You got to respect
yeah,
greatness.
yeah. Took me a while too.
Um,
So
but man, to have that hope that you're going to win every game that you play, this guy provided that.
well, can you
Uh,
imagine him playing now? He'd throw for like 10,000 yards a season. He was doing what was cool now in 84. Like
yep,
it's what was
yep.
it, 4,200 yards or something in 84? Guys were throwing like 1,600 yards, and that was a high.
He threw
Like
for 5,048
5,048. Okay, yeah,
yards
that's right. Yeah.
in 84. That was a 48 touchdown season.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Rules were different for cornerbacks covering receivers. You know, you
You
had
could hit
players
him.
like
Yep.
well, and you had players like Ronnie Lott down the middle that would totally block out that entire area there. But yeah, he was magical to watch when I was actually watching him. And actually, I watch highlights now, and somehow they seem even more magical
Yeah.
because I haven't seen that in such a long time, and it's like, man,
He's the
it's
best thrower over football I've ever seen.
oh, it's
It's just
amazing.
the way it came out was just, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the second
Oh,
closest, I think, but just he could throw from anywhere on the field. I remember he played that game where it was all muddy and everything. I think it was against the Jets, and he's just rolling right, rolling left, all this stuff, and he would just launch it down the field. It looked like he was throwing it 10 yards and it was going 50. Like
yeah, I
it
know
was just
he
amazing. Yeah.
that was back when Joe Robbie Stadium, and I will forever call it Joe Robbie Stadium. It was the Marlins would play there. So for the beginning part of the season, when the baseball season was coming to an end, the infield was still there, and yeah, that was if it would rain or anything else, it was just a mud bath. And he had no legs, and that was
Yeah.
in the latter part of his career. It was all arm,
Mhm.
and man, that the zip that he had, like the deep passes he threw, they weren't moon passes
No.
like Russell Wilson does a beautiful job in tossing things deep to let the receivers get under them. No, this guy was on a rope way down
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Just magical
Mm.
stuff. I being being a Miami fan, Andrea, you asked me about being a big sports fan. I was in Miami at the perfect time because we moved there in 81. 88, the Heat begin. And then in 93, the Marlins and the Panthers begin. Fast forward
You had a good year
back.
with the Panthers, so
Oh, it's been a couple of amazing years
yeah.
considering where, you look back 10 years ago
Hmm.
and we were the laughing stock of the league. They were giving tickets away. You showed up at the game and they were giving you food just to keep you happy.
Wow.
I mean, it was, but they always had a great family atmosphere, which is something that I appreciate. And I'm so thankful for the fans. I never had season tickets for hockey because hockey season, when it amps up, that's when in Florida all the snowbirds are still down here, so things in the office are really busy. Very difficult in the middle of the week to just take off and go to a game hour and a half south. But I'm so happy for the fan base that has really stuck it out, and has gotten to enjoy what now everybody's talking about, a mini dynasty. Unbelievable, unbelievable. It's actually, those are you.
Oh, okay.
That's a beach ball from the parade last year when it was absolutely pouring. This one is that is a 24 playoff towel, and that's a 25 playoff towel.
Nice.
So we've gotten to go to a couple of games, and my son has been a big hockey fan. So earlier I had mentioned lacrosse,
Yes.
and one of the knocks from all the other guys that they pick on me, because a lot of the things that I have not been able to do is because there has been some sort of lacrosse conflict. And there's multi layers to that. My son's a lacrosse player. He's been playing lacrosse since third grade. And he's now in college and he's playing lacrosse in college. So, and he's up in Daytona Beach. So we get to travel and watch him all the time on weekends and everything else, which has been an absolute blessing. I did not know anything about lacrosse growing up. The only lacrosse I knew was Memorial Day weekend. ESPN would televise the one lacrosse game, which was the championship game for college. And I remember just thinking the goalie looked like he was trying to catch butterflies with his big net. But fast forward, we live in a neighborhood where there's a couple of kids that play lacrosse. The dad that lived next door grew up playing lacrosse, so he was like, "Hey, your son's an athlete. Go out play lacrosse." And Todd just took off with it, which was great. And I learned the game through watching him play, which there is nothing like watching your kids compete. I miss watching my daughter compete. She was a great soccer player because she was fast, and then in the off season she would do track and field. And then Todd, any sport that he played, I always enjoyed, but lacrosse was what he chose. And watching your kids play there is nothing like it. As much as I love to watch Marino play, my favorite people to watch compete have been my kids. But I fell in love with lacrosse just because we were around it for so long. My son graduates high school, he leaves for college, and suddenly I have a little bit more time in my hands. And I decide to become a certified lacrosse official. So I wear the stripes and I get to go out and officiate high school games during the season, which is an absolute blast.
Cool.
Um, so that's something that has come up for like the last 4 years now, and it's been great.
Mhm.
It's I get paid to exercise because you run like crazy, and it's all sprints, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
That's
fun.
really cool.
I can have an entire conversation about lacrosse, and all the guys are going to be like, "Yeah, right," you know.
That's really cool. Yeah, because when I was a kid, Marino, we didn't have a football team here. And what's funny is we just lost our hockey team. Um, but uh
Yeah,
but I've been actually, and sorry, but I adopted the Golden Knights when I found out the Coyotes were leaving here. So
no problem with that. That's
yeah,
fine.
you guys got it the next year, so we're good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Marino was my guy growing up. I was 5 years old. My dad put the football game on, and it was like I keep it was always the Jets and Dolphins for some reason. It was always on like because it's not like now we can watch every game. It was like Monday night or Sunday night or whatever, and
Yes, sir.
I'm just watching this guy just doing whatever he wants with the football. And I'm like, is this how it always is? Is it this easy? Like, no, Marino makes it look that easy. And I just fell in love with the Dolphins from that point on. I still have my youth Marino jersey, actually.
He just put
Wow.
it on a few months ago and it fit. He was so excited.
So, but yeah, I still am. I still a huge Marino fan.
Oh, and you see the guy on TV and he barely ages. He's living a good life.
Well, I tell you what, any if you talk to any of the ladies, he was a heartthrob when he started. He was already dating his now wife, longtime wife. But he's always had that sort of, curly hair, light blue eyes, Italian guy. Oh
Mm,
yeah, he has it. He has it all going on.
yep.
Yeah,
And
and he was a movie star too. So,
oh, yeah, well, that's it's an interesting story. My wife and I first date after we my best friend who introduced us. After we'd known each other for a couple of weeks, we had just come back from a birthday party. Went back to her apartment, watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and things were magical ever since then.
The only thing
So
I
so
hate about that movie is he didn't end up ever winning a Super Bowl. And can he have the one from the movie at least, the Super Bowl ring from that?
uh, that will be the try. If I ever have a chance to speak with him, um, that's going to be the thing that I don't want to bring up, but I do want to bring up
Mhm,
because I love the guy, and just because he didn't get that, it makes me appreciate him even more
mhm.
because he he didn't have any Hall of Famers around him. And look what he was able to compete and make the playoffs every year, even against, teams that had incredible setups. And listen, Marino had some great coaches. Don Shula is a legendary coach. Jimmy Johnson got it done. Um, but the way that free agency was and everything else, just things didn't work out for him. Never really had a defense that can help him out until Johnson got there. But then
Yeah.
Johnson got there and then totally scrapped the offense and started
Mhm.
handcuffing Marino.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Because he got Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor and all those guys and
right, Hall of Famers on
Hall of
defense. Yeah,
Famers, but yeah, you got to have a running game at least if you got a good defense. And he had,
correct.
yeah, and especially at his age at that point, yeah, he probably would have loved to have had a running game. Like, dude, you gave us Emmett Smith in Dallas, but you can't give us anyone in Miami now. Like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, I completely get that, and I kind of fell off when Nick Saban did what he did. I just kind of like, it's time to move on a little bit from the Dolphins now, and I
Yeah,
don't live anywhere near there, and just yeah, I just did not like that. And that's from then on, it's really had a bad taste in my
yeah.
mouth. From they've had a few good seasons and everything, but they just can't seem to. If it's not defense, it's offense, and it's kind of like the same thing all over again. And
So
yeah,
being in the same division with the Patriots, that
yeah,
doesn't help.
that doesn't help. Yeah,
And now being in the same division as the Bills doesn't help, and being in the same conference as the Chiefs doesn't help.
yeah,
So, it's just you're just running across really landmark players that, we had one in Marino, we just couldn't put it together for him, but
yeah.
it is what it is, and it's just still, it's I love Michael Jordan. I think
Mhm.
Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I still put this guy above in my fanhood. Marino's still
Yeah, yeah,
tops
absolutely.
Jordan.
I agree with all that for sure. Yeah, like I said, I still have my youth jersey, so I have a one of the orange Zach Thomas jerseys too.
Ah,
I was a
cool.
pretty big fan. So yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I learned when we went to the Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony for Marino back in 2005
Mhm.
that Dolphins fans are far beyond South Florida. It's a lot of people are Dolphins fans everywhere, which I knew the Cowboys were that way, and I knew the Raiders had a following that way. I knew the Steelers and the Packers, but the Dolphins have a pretty solid fan base outside of South Florida, which is
Yeah.
which is really cool. It was a surprise to me.
Yeah, anytime they played the Cardinals out here, it was a lot more green than red for sure. So, and I was one of them. I was actually at that. Do you remember the Chargers Dolphins game that got it was supposed to be in San Diego? Is Sayhow's return to San Diego and it got the fires happened?
Yes.
I was at that game. It was at ASU.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Yes.
cool. They were just giving away tickets. Just you get in line and wait, and we waited all day. And
Oh
Got to
gosh.
go to a free, like, I think it was a Monday night, Sunday night or Monday night game too. It was like a big game, I believe, because it was the big thing of Say How's return.
Right. Right. I'm
And
trying to
yeah,
remember. Is it
I don't remember all the details, but that was a
gosh.
lot of fun. I remember the Dolphins just blew them out too. It was a good game. So
Uh,
yeah, so
great
that
memories.
was cool. What a cool moment I had where it's like, oh no, last minute it's getting moved here because it's the closest in. So it's fun talking to you now, going, I have a memory I could share with you of that happening and getting to see a non-home game on
Oh
my
yeah.
playing field. Yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of good memories. I think it was Fiedler was the quarterback,
Yep.
I want to say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Noggin still
actually.
works a little bit.
No, that was that Dolphins team was we had lost Marino. Fiedler
hmm
comes in, did an adequate job. We actually started to have a running game. Our defense was top notch.
hmm
Again, it was one of those things we just couldn't quite get over the top.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but still, fun times, fun memories.
Yeah,
Which
for sure. For
at
sure.
this point in my life, I'm realizing that I have far more memories, experience, and probably more memories than I'm creating. But always good to have that perspective because
Oh,
you
for
really
sure.
appreciate stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, what do you like to do in your spare time, your free time?
Um, I enjoy fishing. I enjoy um, gosh, free time.
Long walks on
Mixing
the
Right?
beach.
mixing music. I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer, so if I have any projects around the house, I love to do that. I enjoy carpentry. Again, one of the big things that I'm doing, I'm reshuffling the room, and I have I purchased one of those frames that raise and lower your desk. So I'm gonna build my mixing station on top of that because if I'm standing up playing guitar or an instrument, then I can bring the whole desk up and make it a lot easier to maneuver.
Nice.
But stuff like that, I enjoy doing. It's a lot of it. Really, Prog Report for me is free time and having fun because it's about music. I'd be doing music anyways. We just happen to have this thing that has grown and has been a part of our lives, and I can help contribute to it. That's a blessing, whether it's writing a review or doing a podcast. Uh, or mixing a song. Um, yeah, I'm good with all that stuff. Dentistry is my profession, is the stuff that I do for a living. It's what has afforded me to be able to do all this other stuff. Um, and so when I'm away from my office, then yeah, it's music, it's family, it's just making memories.
That's awesome.
And Kyle Fagala said that you mixed and mastered the cover songs they did and all that. Is there anywhere to find those to listen to them?
So yes, I have a playlist. If you look me up by name, I think Victor or Vic J. Giol on YouTube. I have a channel, and on that channel, I do have a playlist. And there's a couple of different playlists. One of the playlists it'll say it'll have the logo for Vic's Sound Closet, and that's a playlist from all the videos that the International Prog crew has done. And
Okay.
we don't all do all the songs all the time because you got Fagel as a drummer, and then there's another drummer in South Africa, Prog Nick, who's awesome as well.
hmm
So obviously they split duties there. But there's a playlist from all the songs with the corresponding videos that we did. And actually, the last song that we did, which was Infinite Fire, my fingers were about to fall off. I was playing bass, and I tell you what, it's the first start to finish Dave LaRue song that I've done. It's an 11-minute song. I have even more mad respect for Dave LaRue. That song has very, very few breaks, but it was so much fun to do.
Nice, nice.
Very
Yeah, it
cool.
was what kind of wasn't nice when we had Kyle Fagala on and he had the green monster behind him. I was like, that's not cool, man.
I used to have a Roland V drum because my son, when he was in middle school, he was in his school band, and he actually learned that he liked to play drums, and he is very good at it. It's just in college with what he's studying and with playing lacrosse, he just has no time. So
Mm.
so it was just sitting here collecting dust, and I can play, but I just if I have time to play anything, I'll dedicate it to either guitar or to bass. Seeing as I've got a handful of drummers that I can send a track to and say, hey, put some drums to this, and they're more than
Nice.
happy to and set up for that. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
so yeah, no, I'm grateful I don't have anything to sort of not tease you with, but oh no, Fagala Fagala is such a fan, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
and I'm and I'm so happy for him. I mean,
Yeah.
not only his drum collection, but his sticks collection, and
Yes. That's what actually got me to reach out to him, or got us to reach out to him, is like I just looking for something that and I have a pretty, not like his, but a decent drumstick collection. We actually just got all the guys from Jackal to sign a stick that they gave us from the show.
Yeah.
holy
So
moly! So
yeah.
it's doubly surprised that Jackal's still. When did you see them?
Oh my God. It
Um,
was on my birthday. It was in April. It
April,
was
yeah.
the best show we've ever gone to. It was so fun.
It
All
was
the
at
original,
Flagstaff.
all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
original guys?
Hmm.
In
Wow,
Flagstaff, in a tiny little club in
Yeah,
Flagstaff.
Jesse James Dupree actually had the chainsaw and he clipped the top of the build
The
yeah,
ceiling,
it was awesome.
sparks are flying. His tech was like, "Oh my God."
But I have it on video. And what's really cool, you see it happen and he's just like, "Oh well." And then
that's a
he took a bar stool, he cut a bar stool in half and quartered it, and our daughter actually got the
The half
half
of
of
the
the
seat.
seat part of it.
They
So,
brought it right over to her. And then I during the set, I was asking the drummer for a drumstick, and in the middle of the set, he threw me a drumstick. And so we hung around afterwards and saw their manager, and we were like, I know they're getting ready to go. They're tired. Do you think they could sign this? And he's like, let me go on the bus and ask them. And he came back out. He said, they'll do it, but no one has a Sharpie. I'm like, I'll get one. So ran back in the bar, got one, and went back out, and they signed everything for us. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's those kind of shows where everything is back to a smaller venue and you get that intimate set. Those are the best. But I
mhm.
also have to say, man, with a chainsaw like that, how many Spinal Tap moments has that band had?
Yeah.
It's
We want to get them on. We've been trying to get, especially Jesse, on, just to I want to ask, like, hey, have you had bad experiences, or what's gone wrong with it, and just kind of find out. And but yeah, that was just awesome because we didn't think he'd do it in small venue like that, because that could be really bad.
Hazardous.
That could go really bad.
when I my assumption would be if they had a prop like that, that it wouldn't have the actual,
Oh no,
cutting
yeah,
chain.
Oh, it's
it's
It,
a
real.
real
it-
chainsaw. Yeah.
it's a real chainsaw, and he actually uses it to cut. That's rock and roll.
Not only that,
That's
but they
right there.
sponsor him.
Yeah, he has a spawn. He has a yeah, yeah. So
Um, Before we get to our final question for you, I want to kind of clue you in on a previous guests that we had. There's a band in Florida. They're
oh,
very young. The drummer just graduated high school. Her name's Angel Bucata. She's phenomenal. The band is called Exigent. It's a brother and sister playing guitar and bass, and then Angel on drums. They're a metal band called Exigent, and they're from Florida. If you ever get the chance to see them, go see them. They are
Do
amazing for their age.
So there is, I'm assuming there's a, have you posted the podcast
yeah,
with
we had Angel on
Angel?
first. Angel,
Okay.
yeah, because we have the same drumstick endorser.
Oh,
Our
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we had her on, just talk to her, and then we ended up, because the band was just communicating with us and everything else. We ended up having the whole band back on with Angel included, and the brother and sister were in the studio together. It was really cool. And those are on YouTube and audio as well on
Yeah,
Spotify and all
if you
that.
ever get to see them,
But
see them.
yeah, yeah, they're.
Where are they in Florida? Do you know?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Yeah, because Florida's all like here,
Yeah.
where you might think it's close and it's not.
Weren't they outside of Miami?
No,
No?
I think they might be in like the Orlando area, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
look
they're
them
on
up on your channel
Instagram
and
and
I'll
all
check
that.
them out.
Yeah, yeah, they're on Instagram and all that stuff. So, but yeah, if you get a chance, definitely check them out. I think they're gonna go pretty far here coming soon when they
Yes.
start graduating high school and all that. So
Do they have a Bandcamp site? Do they have
they're on
any?
Spotify.
Oh,
I know
okay.
that. Yeah, they have. I
Okay.
think they're just doing singles and stuff. But so they
Yeah.
mix up like singles and covers and all that. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Eventually they're going to break though.
But yeah, if they're close to you, I'd say definitely check them out. They're
Cool.
doing it all right. So yeah.
And you're saying they're young, like they just graduated high school
Yeah.
young?
Yeah.
Angel just graduated high school and the brother and sister are already in college. They're phenomenal.
And Angel is a lady who's playing
Yes.
drums, who's playing metal.
Oh yeah, she is
Man,
awesome.
that's encouraging to hear.
Yeah,
Good on
yeah, for
her.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. They're very, very mature and everything for their age.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Good.
we're really excited for them.
That's
So,
awesome. I'll have
yeah.
to check them out. I appreciate
Yeah.
the heads up.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And so the last question, since Justin's a drummer and our podcast is called Drumming Up Conversation, who is or are your favorite drummers?
Well, I already said my dad, for obvious reasons. Mike Portnoy, Neil Peart, uh, Sean Reinert, uh, Richard Christie.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
recognize these names?
Richard Christie for sure. I listen
Obviously,
to Eddie Trunk all the time, so I know who Richard Christie is. So,
you're throwing me for a loop. Richard Christie is what does
is
he
that
do for what does he do for does it is
Oh, Eddie Trunk. Eddie Trunk's a radio guy.
oh, Eddie Trunk. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, you're
Okay.
good.
Yes. Okay. Okay. That
He's
makes
good
sense.
friends with him. Yeah, he's good friend. Brings him up all the time. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Phil Ehart, Phil Collins.
Yes.
And then there's the fusion guys. You've got Royster, you've got uh Chambers,
Hmm.
uh Weckel.
Well, yeah.
I love Steve Gadd. That's I saw him for the first not for the I saw uh Eric Clapton for the first time, and Steve Gadd was one of the drummers,
Okay.
which was really cool. Um, I have because of my dad, and my dad never got to see him live. Buddy Rich. Uh, Buddy Rich is one of these guys where um, you watch his videos and you eliminate the video quality and all that stuff. You can make it look contemporary today and take him out of the suit and everything else. Um, it's if you know who Jason Krutman is. He is a he's
Familiar.
a he's a YouTuber jazz player, but now he's touring with Sepultura on their final tour. The
Okay.
guy has incredible chops. And you watch him play, and he's all over the place. Buddy Rich does that and more.
Mm.
So it's amazing to me how when somebody is just touched by God with unbelievable talent, that was Buddy Rich.
Hmm.
Eliminating all the personal stuff and his
Sure.
personality and everything else, but as far as what he did for the drums and bring them to the front and just playing the way that he did, he would fit in today. Uh, he would fit in today when back then he was such an oddball and such a
Yeah.
freak. He would fit in today with all the freaks that are there. He would still have that, like, you have to button up your pants tight
Hmm.
in order to be able to play his stuff.
Hmm.
So deep admiration for that. And then a couple of Latin percussionists. You have Endel Dueño, who's a conga player, Ray Barreto, conga player, Roberto Roena, he's a bongo player, and there is a drummer called Horacio Hernandez. Uh,
Yes. I
he's
know who that
done
is. Yeah.
He's done if you ever guys if you like fusion jazz, Latin jazz, uh he has this video recording with a pianist called Michelle Camillo, and the name of the song is From Within.
Okay.
And Anthony Jackson, the fusion bass player, is the third on that trio. That performance is absolutely just epic. And Hernandez plays the cowbell with his left foot, doing
Uh-huh.
the clave and all that. Um, it's a long list because, again, being a guitarist, to hang my hat on one it's really tough for me because I don't really delve into drumming in so much detail like somebody like Fagala, who plays drums. I would expect him to be a lot more focused on that. But
I wouldn't be either though. Once like it's a loaded question, really. So
yeah, yeah. No, it's all it's how can you your favorite versus who's better. That's really tough to argue, but the styles are so different. Danny Carey,
yeah.
just what he does is just amazing. I love what Dromio has done.
I was just gonna ask, did you see the Numa one with Portnoy? You know how many people were sending me that? I'm still getting people sending me, "Hey, have you seen this?" Yeah, I've seen it. I watched it like 4 times. It's hilarious.
Justin, have you tried to play Numa? Can you play it? Have you taken the time to
I
break it
have,
down?
I haven't. Um, I I could. I've actually my dad's a drummer, and I've challenged him to do the Drumeo thing. I'm like, hey,
Huh.
um, when you get here, you're gonna sit behind my drums because it's gonna be my drum set because that's where it was how it was played on, and and she's gonna pick out a song for my dad to learn to play that day, and we're gonna video the whole
Of
thing.
one of his songs.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so we're definitely gonna steal from Drumeo, but Numa, I could probably sit down and figure it out. I don't know if I could do it in hours like Portnoy did. It'd probably take me days or even months. But I mean, he
Yep.
also had 13 years to do it too, so that's not fair for any of us. Danny Carey had 13 years to learn that one. So
Right. Right. No, no. It's what an amazing thing that you could take something where, you know, people look at the complexity of playing electric guitar. If you look at a Steve Vai or a Yngwie Malmsteen level, and you say, well, drumming, you just hit stuff, as Stuart Copeland famously said, I just bang shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but to be musical about it and to be technical about it, uh,
Where every hit
that's
has a purpose. Yeah,
absolutely,
yep.
absolutely. I always enjoy when you're watching somebody and you're just waiting for them to explode into something and you just tell they're in control. Dave Weckl, in my opinion, when I watch him play, it's like he could play anything that he wanted to play. But in the context of everything that he plays, he's always well controlled. You know how solid he is. And every once in a while he'll do something that you're like, oh goodness. But
Hmm.
he doesn't bore you with just
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's the art form, to be able to show your chops in a tasteful and musical
Without
way.
overplaying.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Play to the song, but you're still people like, hey, I have this in my back pocket, but I'm
right.
still playing to the song. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. I
Correct.
love that's the stuff I love too. One of those where you sit down, you're like, oh, it sounds easy to sit down and play. This isn't easy at all. One of those things. Yep.
Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
well, thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Where can our listeners find what you're doing, everything you got going on, and all that?
I would refer them to my humble YouTube channel. Again, it's just us Prog Report guys who happen to play instruments well enough to put some fun stuff together. Um, There's even an original song in there by Roy, who that's I think one of his hidden, I don't want to say hidden talents, but one of the talents that he just has not, you know, exploded onto because, he thinks the time has passed, but some cool stuff there. And obviously, guys, the Prog Report, again, shout out to Roy. This is his creation, and just progreport.com. There's a series on Wheel of Prague. He does things with people from other YouTube channels like Notes reviews. Uh, has done a couple of things with Pete Pardo, although that's more limited, and he tries to always think of stuff to keep things entertaining. But he's always looking to promote new artists in the genre, and just please show your support and keep showing up, and we appreciate everything that we've got. So
Yeah, no, you
thank
guys
you.
do a great job. Yeah, and we have it on all the time. Like
Yep.
honestly, like there's all
Uh,
I'm like there's a new prog report out.
uh,
This is what they're doing. We got to watch it later tonight and all that stuff. So and I'll save it to
awesome.
the playlist and everything. So yeah, man, we love what you guys are doing and just keep up the great work. And yeah, we love it. And thanks for doing this. We
Yes.
really appreciate it. So thanks
Hey,
for taking the
listen,
time.
you guys are easy to talk to. It's the first time I've been on this side of an interview, and you guys are great to talk to. And again, this is what we music nerds love to do. And sorry that how long has this been?
Oh,
We don't care. We don't care. As long as it's good conversation, we do not care how long it goes. We've had 6 hour ones, 4 hour ones, all that stuff.
2 hours and
Awesome.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Didn't feel like it. So, and honestly, we'd love to have you back again anytime you want to come on. If you
Yeah.
got something you want to talk about or promote or anything like that, just let us know and we'll get you back on. So,
Well,
Thank you so much.
really appreciate you guys having me on. Just it means a lot when you guys reached out, and I'm grateful to be able to be a part of this. And you guys are a blessing to me. So thank you so much,
Yes.
and
of course.
looking forward to the next one, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
What a cool guy.
For one, thank you, Kyle Fagler, because
Yeah.
he talked about him when he was on. He's like, you guys would really like to talk to Vic because he's the metalhead of the group and all that. And because I always talked about, and I forgot to ask him what his favorite Dream Theater album was, but
Yeah.
mine's always been Train of Thought. That's in my opinion their heaviest album, and that's just a bookend one for me, where it's just start to finish. I can listen to it anytime. I can listen to it start to finish anytime, or I can go to any song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We have been so fortunate to have such great guests. We
Yeah.
really have.
yeah.
Oh, I just didn't feel like we talked to him for over 2 hours.
No.
It was like Bill Hines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's 11 at night. Like we
Yeah.
need to go. It's 2 in the morning for him. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and that's just the great thing about this. And I'm probably not gonna edit anything. Um, yeah, it was fun talking about that, and it was great hearing him go, "Oh my God, that's a pinch me moment." When Portnoy's here, I can see him when we're
Yeah.
talking, and as the first thing I thought of was Chad Gracie.
Keep it
Was
together. Keep it together. Keep
Be
it together.
professional, be professional. Don't just like run around the room screaming like a little girl. Keep it professional, man, because we want him back.
Yeah.
Don't screw this up now.
Yeah.
And then I was just a duck on a pond, man. My legs, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And just like, keep it cool. Yeah, yeah, we're cool, man. You're cool, we're cool. That kind of thing. And then as soon as we got done, we go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah.
And I had no clue the whole time that it was affecting you like that. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Well, that means I was doing a good
Yeah.
job. That wasn't what was going on in my
Yeah.
brain, but yeah,
Good conversation.
just a great conversation. Yeah, and I mean, I love the mixing mastering thing because that's something I am not good at. I can sit down and hit stuff and make it sound good and play to the song and do my thing and everything, but once it gets to where my track is done, I'm like, okay, I'll turn up the volume and get it to where it's right below red so I know it's got the good loudness, but it's not gonna, pop and crackle and all that good stuff. But after that, I don't know what I'm doing. So I like the engineering side of it just fascinates me, and anything I can do to learn, I will definitely learn. And as Kyle Fagula said too, if you're still listening to this at this point, God bless you. So
Right? Yeah.
I'm probably
I
paraphrasing.
always think of that.
Yeah, when we
Him
have
saying
to,
that.
yeah. Well, because they've had some longer episodes too. And again, like we were not blowing smoke. Prog Report is on all the
Oh,
time.
the Iron Maiden one was hilarious. Even if you're
Yeah.
not into Iron Maiden, it was really
And
fun to watch.
yeah, Kyle Graves, we never had you on or nothing. We don't know you that well, but we were just having some fun because it was
All
live
the
and of
technical
all the times of all the
difficulties.
bands, it had to be that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Had to be Iron Maiden live, and yeah, and we know how much that meant to them, and yeah, so it was just having fun. But yeah, we watched like the Metallica one, the Opeth. We've watched it just when they talk about new releases and stuff, and the pair when Portnoy rejoined, that was a fun one to watch. Just hearing that, and like I said, what really stuck out to me was when Vic was like, the heartbeat is back.
Yeah.
Like they were just missing that, and it's back, and now that you've gotten to see Dream Theater, that's really cool too. And the next one's gonna be fun being in the balcony.
Oh yeah.
So
Next one's gonna be
I've
a lot of fun.
never sat balcony before.
Gosh, stop.
So
She's getting really antsy because she opened up one of her little stuffed animals, and I have tons of cotton that I
yeah,
have
we're gonna
to
clean
pick
that
up.
Yep. So
Yeah. She's usually really good. She's usually
and as you saw, she jumped up about halfway through.
Yeah.
She's like, "What? You guys talking about a dog?
Hey,
You guys talking about a
stop
dog?"
it.
So I
Yeah.
heard me. Yeah.
Yeah, she's tearing that thing up.
Yeah. So
All right. Well,
thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for and we understand if you split this up into parts. We do that too with
Yeah.
ones that are 2 or 3 hours. Joe Rogan all the time will watch his stuff, and it's 3 or 4 segments we do with it
Yeah.
because they can get a little lengthy. Not that we don't love watching it, it's just, life.
Yeah.
So,
Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you listen to your favorite music. You can email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. We love getting email. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation, and on X
I have to go to the side now because the mic's
yeah,
right there.
at Drum Conversing. We're also on TikTok, but it's under Temporal
It
Displacement.
is, yeah.
Yes.
It'll both will be on there.
Yeah.
Once you go to the temporal displacement,
sure.
you'll see, you'll see
And
us.
you can listen to our audio version of the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can find the video version on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us, give us a 5-star rating, review, and tell a friend.
And we're still releasing the Friday Zoom ones that we didn't do when they first came out. We're doing those on Fridays, so make sure to check those ones out. They're old audio, but they're new video.
Right.
So everything's still the same, but it's just the video version of it. But definitely check those out too. That helps us as well.
It's always fun to put a face to the voice.
Yeah, I'm always one of those. If I find a new podcast, I always try to see if it's on YouTube first because I'd rather watch it and kind of know what they look like and see what's going on. And sometimes there's something there, like early on with us, even like there's something I would like be talking about or showing whatever, and I'm like, wait, they can't see it, so then I
Right.
have to explain it. So it's just like, one of those you just don't think about it. So
Yeah.
it's just more fun to watch. We'll put stuff on when we're doing things, and you can hear it and watch it at the same time, which is great. That's the great thing
Yeah.
about it. So. And again, check out Vic's stuff. Go on his YouTube, check him out. Everything that
Follow
Prog
Prog
Report's
Report,
doing. From how they started to where they are now, it's just amazing.
I
Like,
didn't know it had been running
Mm.
for so long.
oh, a
Wow.
long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
and
good.
yeah, good for them. And I mean, they're all their videos are just great. All the views and everything. It's just awesome. And they're inspirational to us and what we're doing. As far as we're very music related. Like this whole thing started based, drumming up conversation. It's in the name. So thank you for watching and listening and everything else for drumming up conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
No
Drumming up
mercy.
conversation.